Well, Biddy made it early. Hey, girl. What, you stalking me? Wait, Dan? Still says there's nobody here but me. I just don't know if I can trust that, though. I found this little multi-tool. I don't know how good it is. It's got a bottle opener and a screwdriver, a little screwdriver, and some wrenches. And I guess in a pinch you could stab somebody in the eye with it or something. Hey, hello, Carol. What's the thing? We got to know how much it is. That's now we're trying to decide whether or not we just want to move to the Oklahoma-Texas border, but stay on the Texas side. So, well, we're probably going to wind up doing one of those owner finance things where you pay way too much for the land and the interest is way too high. But the way things are right now with the banks and everything, it's just, I mean, who's got 12, 15? Now there are people out there that do, yeah. But who's got $12,000 or $15,000 to throw down at a piece of property? Not your average me, that's for sure. If we had we'd have been on 30 acres right now. And we got Robert Moore, Carol, Ted. How's it going? Got my new glasses in, and I don't think they're the same as my old glasses. I don't think they put my focal point in the same place. It's annoying. I should only have to do that to focus on the camera, but I have to go way up. The focal point's supposed to be here. Here. So I can look over it far away, but not, I shouldn't have to look out the bottom of my glasses. And I can raise the focal point by doing this, but then the glasses aren't where they go. You know what I mean? Chipper's sneaking in the back door. We were going to do it today, and then we remembered about the time we pulled back in the driveway, Robert. So, oops. I'll probably go check it tomorrow. Go to town. It's weird to think how close Rob Painless lives to like Leveland and all that over there. I mean, all those little towns used to be close to where I was, and then I moved. There's the little towns around here are all little towns. So, well, I don't know. We've got Sea City and Big Springs and Sweetwater, but they're not the same as the little towns up there. How do I explain it? Yeah, it's a post office box. And unless it's a giant box, they'll just put a key to a bigger box. And I can go in and I check the box, and then if they'll just put it in a locker, and I'll have the key to the locker. I could actually go down there and check it right now if I want to. The actual mailboxes where you get to the front of the mailboxes is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I've never been in it at night. That would be weird. Hey, Dior. You know, I don't know that I've ever driven by the post office at night to know if it has lights on. I know nobody goes back up there at 10 o'clock and locks no doors. Yeah, it got warm today. It was nice. It was really nice this morning. I was outside for a little bit and actually thought about putting a sweatshirt on, but then I was like, no, it feels good. I'll just stay cold. I like the temperature to stay somewhere between 50 and 70. If I could live where it was, the low temperature was 50 and the high temperature was 70, I'd live there. 50 at night, 70, 75 in the day. I'd go as much as 80 in the day. But air conditioned building, but don't worry about it. It wasn't there Friday, so but if it was only 65 in the day, the fish would never start biting, or you'd have to be somewhere where it was trout. So I like trout fishing over there. How many acres you got up there, Robert? Throw your OPSEC all to pieces. You can text me if you want to say it on here. Yeah, we have air conditioning, but that's not the same as walking outside and being in the air conditioning all the time. We move, we probably won't have air conditioning. Yay, you. Anyway, y'all like my title? My Stay Alive, Don't Die? If anybody besides the normal people jump up in here, I can, we'll talk about something important, but I can't, the worst Sunday a pastor can ever possibly have is when he preaches to the choir. The choir is the only one there, and you're like, okay, these people, no, they're probably more qualified to be up here than I am, and you're preaching to them again because they're the only ones that ever show up. It's just annoying. It's bothersome. This is a Leatherman tool. I don't know what this is. A little emergency kit that somebody sent me. Oh, that's right. Your air conditioner broke. What attitude? Hey, Clifford. Yes, Billy Bird, you've been shadow banned. Nobody can see your comments. That's the first time you've spoken. You know, when you type something in, you have to like, uh, hit the send button. Probably. Jibber bans a lot of people. He's always kicking people off. We had mystery meat for supper. I told the missus it was goat, but I'm pretty sure I don't know what it was. Tasted like goat. Actually, I'm pretty sure his name used to be Steve. I'll never understand people saying that they've had goat and they can't stand the taste of it. I will never understand that. Goat's delicious. Doesn't have a well, I don't know. I guess if you're eating goat out of a pasture somewhere that's never had a speck of grain or sweet feed or anything, it might be pretty rough. Because whatever you eat, the animal takes on whatever. Like a turkey, hunting turkey up around Amarillo and stuff out there in the canyons and stuff, man. It tastes like poo. Uh, but down here in points south and east, the turkey tastes pretty good. I think it's the way it's killed. You've got to get the blood out of certain animals, or you just can't eat it. I mean, they even bleed cattle. People just don't realize that. I mean, they stun the cow, they hang the cow, they cut the cow, they flesh the cow, and then they skin the cow. So, why not? My goats always eat dog food. You know, if you never swallow it and you keep putting meat in your mouth, it'll do that. I'm just saying. Yeah, too late for that one too. Uh, Sadie thinks sweet feed's quite delicious, actually. She doesn't really like the peanut pellets, the peanut hull pellets, but she will eat sweet feed like it's gonna style. She'll even eat cracked corn. She gets half chinos. She won't eat bell peppers or tomatoes. She'll eat French fries, but she doesn't particularly care for ketchup. She does like barbecue sauce. Hey, Killdeer. How goes life? Anybody feel brave enough to jump on the live stream with me? We'll entertain these other people over here. Hey, Robert, my wife took a clandestine photo of you narking around. Well, apparently when she was putting her phone, I mean, you're upside down. You're walking on the ceiling or whatever, but apparently when she was putting her phone in her pocket or whatever, she took a photo. All right, Beatty, I'll send you an invite. But no cussing and no drinking and no defaming characters or nothing like that. Every live stream I've done, I've had to, what do you call it when you they do limited or no ads or whatever on it. So I've had to ask for a review. Two of them, they've switched it back. Did real quick. The last one, the one last night, actually, it still hasn't. They haven't fixed it yet. But the other one, I mean, I literally, they fixed it within 4 hours of me asking for a review because there was no reason for them to okay. Yeah, don't do the things I do in private. Actually, I'm pretty public about my ill behavior. Everybody, including God, loves a sinner. But nobody loves a hypocrite, especially God. So there you go. I try to act the same everywhere. I try to act better than the old Wes, but hey, Rachel, how's Lance doing? Has he become a soccer star yet? Has he got a scholarship? I'm going to learn to play this whistle that was in that emergency kit. I don't know why there's a whistle that you can play music on in a survival kit, but I can't blow it too loud or the dogs go stupid. I was playing with it. I almost got my darling Clementine down on it a while ago, but then apparently a whistle is an annoying toy to play with in the house. So I'll have to wait till I'm alone to practice. Well, you've got to work with him more. How are you feeling, Aid? You back to yourself yet? Hope. Ow. Killdeer's gone full Harley riding leather motorcycle gangbanger on us. We're going to have to watch him. Next thing you know, he's going to put on a farm implement on the front of his motorcycle and start mowing down innocent protesters. I bet that one right there makes a high whistle. If I hit it, if I blew it real hard, I bet it'd be really high. Two of them. Two of them have the vibrator in them. I already sent you an email, Dior. I never did. Man, has anybody heard of from Matt? I think he's one of the guys that switched over to hanging out just on the small. Apparently, I got too big for some folks. They don't want to hang out on my channel anymore. Still the same guys I was at. Well, I started to say the same guy I was at below 100, but I like to think I actually do a better job in front of the camera now than I used to. I'm still the same guy. I'm just more used to doing it. He said I was supposed to make a commie combine, but couldn't get the funding. Chipper would probably want one for his bike. Right now, he just uses his truck. It's really hard to always have something to talk about on here. I actually thought about carrying on with the live stream we did last night, just talking more about the real basic stuff. But oh, geez, I took a nap before I started the live stream, but apparently I did not sleep enough. This it's got the yawnies like you wouldn't believe. Dior's is in the basement. When you look down the stairs and you realize there's a hairy troll sitting in your basement, you just don't want to go down there. A hairy troll with headphones on, waiting for me to put him in the live chat. He's got to let me know that I'm ready. He's ready, though. I'm not just going to like throw him up here and him not be ready. He's got to give me a sign from above. He's got to like give me a signal that he's ready to become a part of the live stream. If he doesn't give me, I don't know how many different ways I can put that. Dior's, if you don't let me know you're ready, I'm not going to let you join the live stream. How's that? Because right now you could be sitting there passing gas. You could be like trying to clear the system, And if I put you live, then you'd be all out. I mean, everybody would be like. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if you've got shorts on or anything yet. You could still be in your jammies. I don't know. Is my mic working? Well, there was that too. We could talk recipes. I got a few recipes. Give me a thumbs up or something, man. Let me know you're in this to win it. Oh, he said, I'm ready. Why can't you just go like this? See, if you go like this, I can see you, and then I can just let you join in. Let me see that you can hear me talking. Go give me the thumbs up. There we go. That wasn't hard. All right, that was fun. That was like the best the live stream is going to get right there. Here we go. Ta-da. Wait.
Ta-da.
Oh. Be back in a minute, Chipper. If it's an important phone call, record it and play it back for all of us. I'd like to get Chipper to do one of these. If we could get it, he'd do it off camera, I think. He's actually quite the funny guy when you get him started talking. He's also quite the thoughtful, considerate, and philosophical individual. Not a lot of people know that about him, but that man's got feelings. So he is a valued member of the community as far as I'm concerned.
There we go.
Make sure the check's made out to me this time.
What check?
The one he has to give me every time I say something nice about him.
Hey, Wes, I'm drinking energy drink.
What are you drinking? Water?
Energy drink.
Yeah, oh gosh. Is Tang an energy drink? Because I like Tang.
I think the Tang's more like a Kool-Aid. I think the only difference is it's got vitamin C. Did you say Biddy Boo is going to be?
I sent her a deal. She said she had to switch her phone or something. I don't know what she's switching.
Oh, okay.
Guess she's probably like switching it for Cheetos or something. She's probably got to go like milk her pigs and slop her cows real quick. I think that's what you're doing the farm.
I still, I still thought that was funny. That one stream was like, "Hey, what'd you have for dinner tonight?" I had Cheetos. I'm still still laughing about that.
I mean, who put Tank? Rachel. Ovaltine goes in your milk, girl. Where were you raised again? Oh wait, you're from Alaska. Reindeers and crazy people live in Alaska for sure. Or no, y'all don't have reindeer. Y'all got caribou, which are device not connected. Device not connected is in the room. No, the top of Biddy Boo's head is in the room. She's in the basement, but it's just the top of her head. I'm gonna give her a chance to get her whole. There's most of her head. There's her whole face. Now then, you have to tell me when you're ready to come in the live stream. Now we can see most of you, we can see your chin and everything. So when you're ready, you have to let me know, and then I'll let you join the stream just like I did yours, and then we can go. Let's see what she does. Let's see if she is so gonna type it in. I'm ready. Watch this. She can't. Let me see. I mean, nobody knows American Sign Language in this chat. Oh look, she was paying attention earlier. There we go. Okay, here you come. And there she is.
Hey, Dion.
Hey, Biddy Boo.
Oh.
You were born in what kind of North Carolina people would not put Tang in milk?
What?
So now I have to try it.
Yeah, I don't think I'd recommend it.
Dude, I never wanted to eat mushrooms because they looked gross. And then I tried them one time.
I was a kid. I was a kid once, and I decided that it would be a good idea to mix orange juice and milk, and it was not good.
Well, that's because that's got citric acid and stuff in it. That's like, who eats pancakes? Who orders pancakes and orange juice?
I mean, Tang has citric acid in it too.
It's got a little bit more sugar.
Label.
The powder. I'm not going to read the label. I'm just going to put it in water and drink it like they say. I know you can't. I cannot stand to drink orange juice after I've had pancakes. Orange juice literally tastes horrible after pancakes. Hey, Tryon.
Have you ever watched that Married with Children, where Al Bundy made the Tang sandwich? And they told him, said, "Dad, crimp the ends or the Tang will fall out." And he says, "Oh, I do it old school," and took a big old bite, and Tang just went down his shirt.
Oh my God.
Okay. I drank some health stuff the other day. I don't know. Well, I took a mouthful of it because my wife told me it was really good and that I should try it. And she was right. It does actually taste really good, but the last thing I need at my age is to wind up healthy.
Ooh, it's dark. That one light was too bright. Now this one's too dark.
Yeah. Drink the Kool-Aid and do as they say. No, anonymous American. I'm conforming to Tang. I grew up on Tang. We were poor. You could get a lot of orange juice substitute in Tang. You could buy like 5 gallons worth of Tang for the price of 1/2 gallon orange juice. We drank
Yep.
Tang when I was a kid. Ovaltine, man, Ovaltine makes the best chocolate milk on the planet. Hershey's chocolate milk ain't got nothing on it. I'm talking putting half again as much chocolate powder in there as they say to for chocolate milk is like the best chocolate milk ever if it's Ovaltine. Plus, it's got vitamins and minerals and all that other crap in it that's good for you too. So, anyways. I don't know if y'all remember Steve the goat, the little black and white goat or whatever.
Nope.
That's who we had for supper. It was actually delicious.
That's who you invited to supper?
Yeah, we had him over for supper. He had to stay in Hotel Toasty for about 12 and a half hours. But I put him in a brine last night and put him in there, and I was gonna soak him in the brine in 170 degrees for a couple of hours, and then I was gonna pour the brine off and re-season him and put him on to roast for a couple of hours today. But somebody may have forgot he was in the brine and left him in there all night, and then poured the brine off and seasoned him and roasted him this morning, and he was delicious. It was actually very, very good. So,
I don't even have a Patreon account there, Anonymous American. I'll see if I can look you up.
Sorry, I'd forgot my lighter.
okay. We all know, with some of us have figured out who AA is. So,
Who else did you invite?
Buzzard, just these folks. I was thinking about inviting, if Aid wants to come up, he can. Buzzard Roos, you feel like coming up? It's as easy. I send you a link in the email, dude. And then you click on the link. You'll have to start an account. And as long as you've got a camera on your device, it's through a web page. It's StreamYard. And then you just talk into the camera. You stare at the little blue light and go, I'm going to be entertaining and keep all you people happy for approximately an hour to 2 hours to 3 hours and 47 minutes, whatever. And I
Hi, Mrs. West.
do not know, Anonymous. You haven't commented on any of my stuff. I need to start putting more stuff over there. I was doing it pretty regular, but I've been slack of late because, well, reasons. None of them good. I have no good reason for laying down on my job. I just want y'all to know that the only reason I haven't been putting out account or content on any of my accounts is because I'm lazy and I'm not doing anything but working, taking naps, eating, working, taking naps, and eating. I'm just not doing anything but that, and it's really not YouTube worthy. So there, I confessed. I think I saw a clear stick its head. What all in all? Oh, hard hole in the wall. That's where I got mad because she moved my shed and I punched her out. I can't believe you moved my barn, so now I can't come stay. You just want me to come down there and wire it up and hook everything up, huh?
Yeah. I ain't stupid. Give you a free place to stay. You might as well hook the damn thing up. Oops, sorry, lost the language.
There goes my monetization already. Gosh.
No, they
Well,
won't.
you already had a curse word fly out of your mouth, Wes.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Wow. Which one was it?
It was the poop word.
Oh, shit.
Nope, did it again.
This is Saturday night. This is not Bible study. This is just. But I don't know. I've been like super wiped out the past week, I guess.
Thank you, Dior, or he'd have held that over my head.
I would have. Quit keeping score, Dior. This is my chat room, and I get to ridicule other people. I'm not here to be ridiculed. I'm here to do the ridiculing.
Well, so far I'm at 0. You're at 2. Biddy Boo's at 1.
Oh man, you have no idea. I didn't think that Mrs. West was going to have anything to do with me when we first got together because my language was so perfect.
Like perfect how?
Like perfect sailor knees. My 2 oldest brothers come home from the Navy and they had learned how to talk, and I listened way too much. And the thing for people to join in the little town I was from, it was the Navy. There was a lot of people went in the Navy there, so everybody had older brothers or cousins or something that were sailors.
Kind of sounds like my story.
And it's funny because the 2 guys that went to the Navy, neither one of them, I mean, they don't not cuss, but they don't cuss hardly at all anymore. It's just they just let go of all that. But anyway, I started yakking at Buzzard Roost about that and asked him if he wanted to try this. Hey, Sister Kate snuck in the room.
Hi, Sister Kate.
But anyway, did you want to try that? And we can try it some other time, Buzzard. If you'll send me a text or whatever, we can play around with it offline before we actually try to come into the live stream. Before you come into the live stream, it's a little different. You have to try to guard what you say because you never know when the pastor's wife's going to show up in the side chat. Right about that. Apparently,
Wes, Billy Bird wants you to do a Popeye quote.
A Popeye quote? I don't do Popeye. I used to think Popeye was the coolest cartoon ever, and then Robin Williams did that movie, and I will not eat Popeye's spinach now.
I've seen parts of that. I've seen parts of that Robin Williams Popeye movie. I thought it was. Yeah. I thought it was all right.
That gives me reason to pause about you, Dior's. Serious. That's like the worst bit of cinematic.
I loved Robin Williams.
Ever. Robin Williams was good. The movie, the storyline, the script was good. The fact that they made the entire thing slapstick and unintelligible, and all of it overtly sexual innuendo.
I'd have to rewatch it. I only got to see parts of it.
Wasn't Popeye. It's if I had never gone to college, or if I'd have never bothered to read classical literature, probably wouldn't have bothered me.
Well, you know,
Hey,
the
hey, Anonymous American wants to know if he should join the stream.
If he wants to, I got room. Ah, man, now I can't.
who was the chick that played Olive Oil?
You mean
I
what the hell?
don't know that much. Hey,
She went bonkers. She went way
you
off the
figure.
deep end.
What's your email, dude? Or just give me the first couple of letters of your email. I know we've emailed each other.
We should just get on Skype. That's what Rachel's saying.
I love Skype.
Why would I want to do that?
Hi, Rachel.
What, like the whole room? How many people can get on Skype at one time?
I have no idea. I haven't used Skype since the Navy.
I think up to 10. I can't remember.
8 is saying up to 12. I don't know if that's for this or if that's for Skype.
Well, Anonymous, I have your email, if that's okay, or would you rather me do it the other way? I know who you are. So, and you can pick your screen name. I was trying to get Buzzard Goose to drop me a line so I'd know, because his email's not coming up when I
Gotcha, Aid. You know what I think would be a good conversation? You know, so we kind of stay on topic and we aren't going off on the whole what'd you have for dinner tonight? We should talk about what got us all into prepping to begin with. I'm sure we've all got some interesting stories. I don't know.
yeah, that's all. What got you into prepping? I don't know. I was afraid of starving to death.
No, but I mean, like, for real.
All right, go ahead. What got you in? Viewers, why don't you tell us what got you started into prepping? But remember, you're only allowed 2 curse words per 30 minutes, or we have to make this for adults.
Okay, all right. So this actually goes back to my days in the Navy. Actually, the Navy was part of the reason why I started prepping. So one of the things I found interesting back when I was on submarines, I was torpedo man's mate. I was watching the fire tech control, the sonar tech control, and what the heck were they? The electronics technicians. They were doing, and ET Navs. They were doing some sort of a drill on the over there in command and control. I thought it was interesting how we were pursuing this. I can't remember if it was a container vessel or if it was or if it was supposed to be like a oil tanker or what it was. You know, we're simulating us pursuing them and then launching a Mark 48 ADCAP torpedo at the quote unquote enemy vessel. Now, at the time, I remember hearing a long time ago from video games something about an EMP, but I didn't really think much about it. EMP, okay, so you just video game, you just got done. You set off an EMP weapon, you just took out all my electronics. Well, that sucks. Oh well, I'm still going. But then I actually did some research about the EMP, and I was thinking, come to find out it's a lot more horrifying than what I originally gave it credit for. And it's interesting to know that.
Send it to your email. Go ahead.
Sorry. It's interesting to note that about 9 out of 10 people after the event of an EMP weapon being used over the United States would possibly die within the first 6 to 12 months. And that's basically what gave me a kick in the seat of the pants to get me going to prepping. I mean, before that, I was buying cases of MREs over at my commissary because, well, I just found out they were selling MREs. So, and then, like I said, I pretty much had a purpose from then on out why I was buying what I was buying and what I was doing. And I figure, with the exception of nuclear warfare, if you are prepared for an EMP attack, you're pretty much prepared for anything else to follow. So,
what was your first prep?
First prep was to start getting food and water storage, some actual food and water storage. Like I said, I had a few cases of MREs, but this just kind of gave me, like I said, it just gave me a little bit of a direction. I mean, before that, I think, like I said, I was kind of into like just general preparedness in terms of like, winter survival, more or less with a vehicle, because I want to say like a year and a half before I actually quote unquote got into prepping, back in Connecticut, we had this snowstorm, a blizzard roll through back in January 2015. It shut down Interstate 95. There were some cars that actually got stranded on the Interstate 95 bridge crossing the Thames River. And there were some people that actually ran out of gas in their cars. There were actually some people that froze to death in that storm. And that, I wanted to be prepared for that. But, that stuff's kind of short term. After that, like I said, after learning about the EMP, I started like buying, I started researching my vehicle.
Prepping is just as important.
Say again?
Sorry, didn't mean to walk on you.
Oh,
I was just saying short-term prepping is probably more important than long-term prepping.
Yeah. Well, like I said, from that storm, like I said, I made sure
I'm trying to get my work, so
I made sure I kept extra gas in my truck. Like I would actually have extra jerry cans worth of gas. I didn't want to run out of gas. The whole, like, after I learned about the EMP, I started like buying more medical supplies. I started buying I researched my vehicle and started buying doubles of parts that I figured were EMP sensitive that could be damaged or destroyed.
Yeah.
Got doubles of parts.
Yes. Sorry. Hold on. I'm gonna kill my mic for a minute.
Okay.
So, it's on YouTube.
Well, I guess we could ask Biddy Boo, would you? And thank you, Billy Bird.
Well, I guess, for one, as far as prepping, we didn't know of it as prepping. I was raised on a farm. You always grew your food, canned it, so you'd have it in the months that you didn't have a garden. But what got me going, I guess you could say, was sheer stupidity on my part. They tell you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents had always told me, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I was a rebellious little thing. And I was like, I'll do what I want with my money when I want, It was one of those situations. Well, then it got to the time, I guess my kids was probably 3 and 4 years old. Well, a situation came up, and Rick's ex-wife had said she was still married to Rick, and they still had him on her medical, and they had been split up for 2 years. And she wasn't paying her medical bills, and they went to garnishing his checks. And so to get them, before we could get them stopped, we was living on a little and nothing. It got to the point we didn't have no money for groceries. All we had was our bills paid. And
Dang.
We had a few bullets. So I can honestly say Squirrel Stew got me to prepping. Because when we started finally getting money back, I went to putting food back because it got to the point I had to send my kids to live with my mom and dad. I was too ashamed to tell my mom and dad we didn't have money for food. So I'd sent the kids to stay with my mom and dad for a while. And the kids told mom and dad we didn't have any food.
Oh.
And having an empty stomach, only getting to eat once a week, will make a person learn real quick that you want to stock up on food. And like I said, it took sheer idiocy for me to have to learn. And I swore I would never be hungry again, and I haven't been. As you can tell, I'm a chubby girl.
It's okay. I ain't much better. The truck driving hasn't been very kind to me.
But yeah, I mean, it was bad. I mean, we was doing everything we could to just pay the bills. You know, we had a house payment, we had a car payment, we had our utilities. And that was taking everything we had because they were taking all but a quarter of Rick's check for her medical. And it took them almost 3 years to pay us back for what they
momento.
out of his check.
Hey, Buzzard, can you hear me? You have to have, make sure you've got YouTube muted or it'll loop through the whole thing. No volume on the YouTube. I don't know if y'all can see him down in the basement, but I can.
I can't.
No, I can't see anything or hear anything.
I got to turn on the fan, y'all. I'll be right back.
That was an excellent story, though, on Biddy Boo's part.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught any of that, Wes, while you were gone.
Yeah, I was listening. It's kind of, yeah. We've all got, and that's basically an alimony or child support or whatever story right there. We've all got them. Can you hear me, Buzzard Roos? He's frozen, isn't he? No, Sister, I don't know if y'all been reading the side chat. Sister Kate, ask a question.
And David, I have been reading your comments. You are, for the most part, correct. There is a lot of speculation on what EMPs will or will not damage. I just like to lean more on the side of a little bit more cautious and assume the absolute worst thing possible, that it will fry just about everything it'll touch. Oh, and real quick, Wes, back in that one of our previous live streams, I want to say we did it back in June or something like that. We were asking the question, what would happen to bullets if EMP or CME make contact with it? And it was like, I came to realize that it's not going to do anything.
It shouldn't. Hold on, let me see if I can get Buzzard Roost in the stream real quick.
And I can't comments because I'm on a cell phone. So I'm sorry.
Says I'm in the show now.
Oh, there we go.
Hey, Buzzard.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hey. Oh, let me turn. Let me set this up on the stand, sorry.
Hey, Biddy Boo, if anybody types up a comment for you, I'll read it out.
I can't
hear
you.
And a little bit of administration stuff real quick. There's funny and then there's insultive. We need to make sure that whenever we, in the comments over here on the side, whenever we make a joke, we need to make sure that it's within the comfort zone of the people the joke is thrown at. Because, well, there's funny and there's hurtful, and we just need to treat each other a little bit better sometimes. I don't like the idea of, I know it wasn't done maliciously or anything, and I'm going to let it go with that, but we need to be careful over there. Okay. Now, back to having fun. But real simple. We all talk. We try not to talk over each other, and we're not talking about anything important. And if anybody wants a big, hairy crybaby, you know, if you get mouth boogers on me, you're done. Take that little bone and go away.
What were you asking me, Dior's?
Oh, I was going to say, if anybody types up a comment directed to you, I will read the comment out loud for you, so that way you can respond.
Smell these. Smell them. Smell them.
What is it?
What are they?
Dog treats. Like,
Dog
disgusting.
treat?
Hey, now.
Yeah.
Now on the comments, I can't read the comments either. So if you could,
All right, I'll do the same for you.
Are you on your phone?
let me
or
know if someone
anything?
makes a comment.
If anything comes up,
I'm on my cell phone.
I should be able to. Oh, this is the noises of the dog that is annoying me.
What breed is that dog?
He is 50% Chihuahua and tiny teacup poodle. Got right. He just has a really big head. He's actually standing in my lap, flat-footed right now. It's Anatolian Shepherd, Great Pyrenees mix. Get off of me with the licking and slobbering stuff.
Yeah.
I
don't have to worry about that with cats.
If you get into that, you're going to have your face stuck to it for forever. I got a mouse trap over there for
Not a
friend.
nice cat. She is a B word.
Okay, hold on. What was I doing before I was so rudely interrupted by the dog?
You were explaining the rules, and then
Oh,
you said go back to fun.
Basically, we try not to cuss, except Dana, she's down there, she cusses all the time. And which makes me cuss.
I'm so glad everything gets blamed
Well-
on me. I'm going to tell you like I tell my husband. Evidently, I must be the most responsible person around because every time something happens, even if he does it, I'm responsible for it.
That would be the truth. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Buzzard, introduce yourself to the side chat.
Yes. I'm Buzzard Droost. I've had a YouTube channel for almost 2 years now. I do survival, homesteading, prepping, food storage, a little bit of natural medicines and making like colloidal silver. And I love working with wood. I can make just about anything out of wood.
Nice. What got you into prepping? Buzzard.
Let me see. Back in about 1983, I was pretty newly married. We had one child. I changed jobs, and about 2 weeks after I changed jobs, I was involved in a car accident that put me out of work for about a month. No money coming in, and we literally had some dinners that was a can of vegetables that we split, and I swore my kids never go hungry again.
Dang. Store is very similar to
So
Teddy Boo.
I've always had a robust food pantry since then. Do what, sir?
I took a gamble one time when my kids were little, and everything went okay, and then things didn't go okay, and then little known story. I'm on my little intro video on my channel. I tell everybody that's been homeless more than once. There was actually one. It was not for a very long period of time, but there was a few, like 2 weeks, where me, my wife, and my 3 children did not have a roof, and that's just not going to happen ever again. Me, I can do homeless standing on my head, but not the wife and kids.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna chime in on that because it's still bugging the back of my brain, the EMP thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
in theory, an EMP cannot penetrate any further than the radiation. And this is in theory. I do not know this. Nobody knows this. But the only protection for electronics would be a minimum of 3 foot of packed soil or 12 inches of concrete. And that's your best guess. I mean, will a Faraday cage work? Don't know. I mean, if it's a big enough EMP and you're close enough to the epicenter of it, it's just going to build up a charge in the Faraday cage, and everything inside of it's going to be inside the magnetic field anyway. I mean, can you imagine the size of the Faraday cage you would have to protect your cell phone? You know, if the Faraday cage is only the size of a trash can, everything in it
I get it.
still inside the radiation of the EMP charge. I mean, the electromagnetic pulse is a form of energy. It's a type of radiation. It's not just in the stuff it touches. It's in the atmosphere around it.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. I'm my colloidal silver.
Okay. That's what that bottle I held up was some colloidal silver I got from him.
What is it?
So,
noise?
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. What was that noise?
and if there's anybody out there,
that was my alarm going off. I was making colloidal silver.
Oh, I was like, what in the tarnation?
He's not like the rest of them old boys from Oklahoma. That group.
Sorry about that.
Cooks in the bathtub. He cooks colloidal silver in the kitchen sink.
So as I know how an EMP and a CME work, it's basically an energy burst that displaces the electron particles off of all the atoms in the atmosphere and just kind of sends it down to Earth. And it couples anything electronic.
The northern lights are the result of an EMP of sorts.
Yeah.
I mean, a mass coronal ejection creates a electromagnetic pulse.
Yeah.
That races across the open vastness between us and the sun and slams into the earth. So everybody, when people picture a solar storm, they picture this little ball of energy coming straight from the planet. It's like there's a guy sitting in the middle of the sun with a little canyon, and he shoots a little Nerf gun of solar energy straight at the planet. Right? There's this big ball of energy comes out at the sun, and it is spreading out. If one of the ones that hits Venus, or is it Venus the ones that close, or Mercury
Mercury's the closest.
So as strong as the ones that hit Mercury when it hit us, we wouldn't be here talking about this right now. We'd all have little green horns sticking out of our head, talking a completely different language. It would scramble us. But in a lot of the modern electronics in vehicles and stuff are actually designed to be EMP resistant. One of the sales things on my wife's car says that it doesn't call it hardened, but in the engineering of the car, it stands a good chance of resisting an EMP attack because it's a real thing. And it's just a matter of making sure there's unimportant stuff that's going to blow out before the important stuff does. So,
there we go. We got lost buzzard.
It's going to jump in and out. He's got good internet like Biddy does.
I'll be right back, y'all. I've got to find a chair that won't hurt my bobo.
Okay. Bring you a recliner in there.
I'm gonna have to eventually go back upstairs and go grab my other half of my energy drink. But I was gonna say to that effect though about what you're saying about cars. Now there's a lot of experts out there that say that most cars will not be affected, but you know what? Even so, it makes sense that a car with electronics would naturally be able to resist an EMP. It's designed to resist electrical surges anyway, because sometimes the alternator gets a little squirrely. And then not to mention the fact that your car is naturally kind of a Faraday cage of its own, because I mean, if we're talking about cars that aren't made out of plastic or carbon fiber for the most part, that sheet metal body is going to act as a kind of a Faraday cage of a sort.
Well, it's actually the length of the amount of wires. The more wires you have in the car, the more charge, the more EMP it can absorb. The more metal, and most of your new cars have the crash cages built into them. There's a lot of metal inside there. Mm-hmm. It's the less metal you have, the better off you are when it comes to absorbing the a tree, because it has sap in it, will absorb the energy. The ground doesn't absorb the energy because it doesn't have a way to conduct electricity. It's conductive material. That's why the solar flare that knocked everything out in the late 1800s or whatever it was, that's why it was so powerful, because it was able to get into the power lines and they just kept sucking up the juice until they went.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they only had telegraph lines. As far as I know, with the 1859 Carrington event that you're describing, yeah, it like I said, coupled with the telegraph lines, set some of those telegraph stations on fire. It even coupled with the believe it or not, the railroad tracks actually coupled energy with the railroad tracks, and even caused some of the railroad ties and some of these railroad tracks to catch fire as well. But CME is still different from an EMP, because CME is not as destructive. See, as far as I know, the way CME works and the E3 wave of an EMP is that you need to have a length, your structure or your electronics has to have a length of no less than 300 feet, approximately. No less than 300 feet worth of like wiring, and it has to span no less than 300 feet in overall distance in order for it to couple. Otherwise, it's just not going to couple.
What about if you was to ground a vehicle? Would that help?
See, I don't know, because a lot of people have said that grounding won't do anything. There have been some that say you're better off parking your vehicle in some sort of metallic outbuilding, that would act as a Faraday cage as long as it's sealed. And then we've got some people that go as far as your vehicle needs to be as old as 1974 or older, and then some are saying 1986, like older than 1986, so 1985 or older.
Yeah, they have people out there studying all this stuff, and I don't think any of them really know for sure. Hey, Trey.
Well, the last nuclear test was 1962, and that was Starfish Prime.
They have a guy who has a piece of equipment in the basement where he does the research that he can generate his own little EMPs all day long. They say he spent all day frying electronics to see how to make sure the electronics don't fry so easy. It's not the electronics that the EMP that the upper, and people stop calling them an EMP weapon. It's the high upper atmosphere thermonuclear device that is used to generate the EMP. Is the reason it's detonated that high is because it is designed to take out the infrastructure, the power line,
site weapon,
communications, the stuff like that. I mean, if there's no electricity, the gas isn't coming out of the ground at the gas station, you're not going anywhere. The gas you have in your vehicle, that's it. Even if you can make it run. You can put all the fuel stabilizers you want into your gasoline. You can only store it for so long before it becomes garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as far as...
Sorry, Buzzard.
Great, Buzzard.
As far as getting gas out of the gas stations, you can take an older fuel pump, electric fuel pump, mount it on a board, put your hose on it, that goes down into the tank, and then a hose that'll go up to your tank, run it off your battery, and you can pump gas out of those underground storage tanks.
Yes, you can. I just got through reading a book. No, I can't remember the name of it. It's one of the EMP books or whatever. And one of the guys had made a deal like that, and they were at a gas station getting fuel. And then, well, the guy that made the pump was dead, and the guys that shot him were using his pump to fill up their tanks and not his tank. It's the worst possible.
Yeah, but if you was to make make more than one, and maybe work out a deal with the owner of the gas station to give him one for like a tank of gas or something, then he can still make his money. You still have a spare that if you needed it somewhere else.
Well, I'm not saying
that might keep you from getting shot.
Yeah, that might keep you from getting shot. But that's the deal. Those pumps, it's a 1/4-inch stream of gasoline. It's literally going to take you 30 minutes or longer to fill your tank. And that's
I didn't think about that.
It's a long. I've played around with it. I actually made one. It's supposed to pump gasoline. I know, but I made one to see if it would pump water from an abandoned water well behind my house to the surface, and it did for a little bit. And then that's enough of that crap because that's a long way to pump water. They're actually designed to work off a little back pressure. And if you run them too long with no back pressure, open-ended, then they over-rev and they amp up. My deal is I think I would have had it under too much back pressure because it was having to pump the fluid 68 feet. So that was a lot of water, technically. That's actually a lot of weight for a little 12-volt pump. I was impressed. I was disappointed that it didn't work because it was one of my backup plans, which quickly went back to a 2-inch piece of pipe with a cap on the end of it and a rope attached to the other end that you go down and you pull a quart of water out at a time, which still works.
Yeah, well bullet.
Now, what book were you reading, Wes? Was that Equipping Modern Patriots, or what book was that?
No, it was
Equipping Modern Patriots. They used a weed sprayer, like a pull-behind weed sprayer for an old tractor to pump up diesel fuel at a gas station.
No, this was there's only about 1,000 in books out there. It was actually an audio book.
Yeah, that's all I do with audiobooks.
I can't remember the name. It's going to be in my playlist. I have an audiobook playlist.
Oh, nice.
Which is private. But
okay, man.
And that's the deal. It all depends on the strength of the pulse or whatever. There's no way of knowing. Honestly, folks, here's the deal. District asked the question: are you prepared to live without electricity? Has anybody done the thing where you flick the light switch, you kill the main breaker to your house for a long weekend? You get home from work at 5 o'clock on Friday, you hit that 200 amp breaker coming into the house. Nobody's got lights. Have you tried that? Have you checked to see if you can pull it off for 48 hours?
Well,
give it a try. You'll be surprised.
We had an ice storm and I was out of power for almost 2 months, and I'm still here, so I think I can survive.
Yeah, it's
we had
probably
ice storm take out our electricity, and we had to go for 4 days without it. And it was touch and go there towards the end because it was getting cold.
Oh, well, we have wood heat, so.
We didn't. We do not.
I have wood heat and had wood heat back then too. So, I mean, that was the only thing. It was the heat. because I could cook on the stove or whatever.
I watched the ice break off the top line and hands down and touch the bottom line. And that was the end of the electricity.
Hey, David E. He brought up a good point, and actually, I've heard this numerous times. The Pri-G fuel stabilizers. In fact, I think even Staff Sergeant BA has talked about it at least once. But that stuff will revive old gasoline. You put that in your gas, as long as you've got a sealed container, it will store basically indefinitely. I've been meaning.
Yeah, but you have to keep it at below 62 degrees.
Yeah. I've been meaning to try this.
Some ifs and buts and ands to that.
What was the name of it?
Pri-G. I think it's spelled P-R-Y
Pri-G. Okay.
and G. I think it's spelled that way, but I don't know. I could be wrong. But I've used fuels. I've used regular Stabil to stabilize fuels. The longest I've actually ever stored any of my gas for any periods of time was like 18 months. And Stabil is advertised that your fuel will be good for up to 2 years. So
I guess that would be one way to check and see if you can make it through it, Mark, just like not fill. But I don't know. Your best thing. I mean, come on, we're flesh and blood. We actually, very few of us, there might be somebody in the room that actually has a battery powered device inside their body that requires electricity, so their heart will continue to beat. The rest of us, we can live without electricity.
And I'm so glad I'm not one of the people. My cousin, unfortunately, is. He's got
sweating, being ready for an EMP. I mean,
oh no,
is it important that all your electronics work after something like that? Nobody else's is going to work. And if they find out that your stuff does work, they're going to kill you for it.
Yeah.
I don't care. I mean, you got a whole army of 200 armed men. You've got a starving mass of several thousand people that think you have enough stuff to feed them for a day. You don't have a big enough army to keep them out. The end. I mean, even if
that's where you don't keep all your eggs in one basket, too.
Yeah. Even if you got that stuff, you don't turn it on. You do not fire that generator up. Not until the die-off has happened.
Yeah.
And that's an EMP event or a mass coronal ejection and stuff. They call for 90% of the United States population to die.
Yeah.
I know
for a fact I know for a fact it'll be true with the EMP. Not so sure about the CME because CME is less destructive. At the very least, those people with pacemakers, they're still going to be alive after a CME. I can't guarantee that for sure, though.
It depends on the magnitude of the CME. A CME can carry just as big a punch as an EMP.
Yeah, but
what direction it hits. Everyone we've suffered in the past few years has hit it at a glancing blow. It's hit the side of the world that the ocean was facing when the main part of it hit. The rest of it just bounced off the atmosphere. If the United States is facing directly at the solar storm when it hit, well, we have 18 whatever it is over again.
1859. Yeah.
We're not set up for that.
Yeah. Well, what I'm trying to get at though with the CME versus an EMP, CME will only couple to the power grid. It will only take out the power grid. EMP, it's going to pretty much wipe out everything. But back to your point.
On that. I was wrong about that now because I think you and him would go to duking it out.
Who?
The CME and the EMP they're the same type of energy, literally. I mean, so one of them comes in through the atmosphere, the other one's detonated in the upper atmosphere. One of them has the equivalent of 1 million bombs powering it, and the other one's got 1 bomb powering it. I would be equally worried about, the Nerf gun coming from the sun as I would be the nuclear weapon coming from wherever. Whatever thing's going to get me demonetized, whichever country I can say right now that gets everything.
Any country beginning with letters N and letter K, or other countries begin with the letter I.
Who thinks the Earth is hollow? Don't lie.
Until I have proof otherwise, I believe that the Earth has got multiple layers, like different cores. Just like people that like to argue flat Earth, I'm not going to buy that either until somebody can actually prove to me otherwise.
Well, when I see somebody fall off the edge, then I'll believe it.
I think the Earth is hollow, man. I don't care what y'all think. What? Who said no? Who said it wasn't hollow?
I did.
It's not hollow.
Buzzard, you're the tiebreaker. Is the Earth hollow or is it solid?
Come on, Buzzard. Go with me on
it has
that.
a molten core.
Do what?
Which is technically
Is the Earth
liquid.
hollow? Say yes, man. Come on. Don't leave me out here on my.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I don't think it has a. I don't think it has a solid nickel core to it.
No, it's
Sure.
liquid.
It might.
It can't be hollow.
I think that it's hollow. At the very least, it's got a bunch of holes in it. I mean, come on.
Sure.
Look at all the volcanoes. Think about it. All the volcanoes that have been hocking loogies for all these millions of years. I mean, why do the holes fill right back up all of a sudden? I don't think so. Do I think anything lives in there? No. But I think.
Yeah,
I think it's hollow.
With the
like
with the plates going under each other, they remelt.
Mm-hmm.
See, you people.
Well,
it's like an onion. It's got layers, exactly. And some of those layers are empty because I want them to be.
Let me bring something up here. Okay, so you remember how earlier you mentioned something about the Northern Lights? Well, that's our Earth's magnetosphere battling the little miniature solar waves, little not EMPs, CMEs that the sun keeps spitting out. Well, in order for that magnetic field to exist, you need to have some sort of a molten core that generates that magnetic field. So how can you have that magnetic field if there's no core and there's no like I said, and it's just a hollow void like everybody's claiming it to be?
Oh darn! Did he leave?
Isn't the North and South Pole the weakest in our magnetic field?
Well, I mean, I think
science. I'm holding in my hand.
I know they kind of like, right, like I said, they kind of curve out, So I would possibly, maybe it's because that's where the solar wave is striking, the closest to the Earth because the way it's designed. I don't know. Think of it like the top of the core of an apple. How it's shaped. That the deep part of that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost like the magnetic waves that are going around in the atmosphere are going back through the middle of the planet like it was hollow. But I have in my hands 2 metal discs. I'm holding them. They're not burning me, therefore they are not molten. But guess what? They produce magnetic fields even though they're very weak. It doesn't have to be molten to produce a magnetic field.
Yeah,
it just has to be magnetic. I can go out here and run a magnet through the cotton field and pick up rocks with it. The rocks are magnetic.
Yeah, that
Okay,
or they're
they're
Ferris.
Look how
really pretty
they
black
have
rocks they're made out of. But
They have
the
to
thing
have
is,
metal in them.
no,
Say-
these actually aren't metal. They're some kind of rock or whatever. Magnetite is not actually a metal, I don't think.
You talking about
But-
hematite?
How many people think you can eat metal and survive?
We
We
eat
do that on
iron
a regular
every day.
basis.
Yes, you can.
Thank you, Buzzard.
Iron all the
Wait,
time.
what, Beauty?
I said we eat iron every day.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Checked a lot of your
Salt.
cereals. All your cereals have iron in them.
Salt's
Here's
actually rated. Isn't salt a
Hey,
metal?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. I'd have to
No.
look at the periodic table of elements. I don't think it's considered to be a metal.
And magnesium.
You know,
which is
you was
actually-
talking about the cereal. You was
Yeah,
talking
Go
about
ahead.
having the cereal having metal in it.
yeah,
My
it has
son
iron.
done a science fair project where we ground it up and then took a magnet and pulled the actual metal out of the cereal.
Oh, gross. What kind of metal was it? Did you make a knife out of it? We should. I'm going to make a knife out
Iron.
of Cheerios now.
It's iron. That would
I'm
be
gonna
iron.
forge-
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
iron.
forge
That's
Cheerios.
another reason you want to use cast iron because it gives you iron.
Yeah, I've got cast irons. I've also got the enamel coated, those blue pans and stuff like that, pots and pans.
Yeah, the old campware.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Same with the cast iron. Cast iron's a bit of a pain in the butt, though, to clean off. Notice I censored myself last night. A single curse word's flown out of my mouth tonight.
Very good, very good. Bob, I'd just like to point out that it is okay to wash your cast iron. Okay, it's okay. Nobody. I checked. Nowhere in the Bible does it say, "And thou shalt burn in purgatory for using dishwashing soap on your
Just
cast iron."
when you dry it, please put it on the stove to dry.
Don't let it air dry.
And then make sure you season it before
You can
go
also
use
put it in the oven if you got a pilot light.
Yep.
Yeah, see, there's options. Don't sit there and cook out of the same skillet for 6 years and wonder why you're sick every 2 weeks. It's called
Exactly.
boxing.
Wes, I hand wash my skillets with soap. And if something's really badly burned on, because I will get stuff that burns on, especially when I'm like cooking potatoes, I always use steel wool to clean it off. And then afterwards, I do what Biddy Boo says. I put it on the stove and I season it because part of seasoning it, you actually have to get the pan kind of hot. Otherwise, that canola oil or whatever it is that you're using the seasoning it with won't properly apply to the porous material of the pan.
I'll be right back. I'm going to show y'all this little thing.
Should've.
It's the most awesome thing for cast iron or anything else I've ever found.
All right.
And Rachel, not if you're south of the Mason-Dixon line. Because apparently cast iron south of the Mason-Dixon line that goes in the dishwasher will dissolve. For whatever reason. Come on, if you can take rusted cast iron and sandblast it and then re-season it and cook with it, running it through the dishwasher is not going to, and the seasoning isn't permanent.
Trey said he was taking notes, but this is somebody's paper.
It's okay, Trey. Biddy's taking notes for everybody, and she's going to publish the minutes of this meeting by noon tomorrow for everybody.
You just lost.
You'll be able to purchase a copy of them at buzzardroost.com. Just joking.
You see that?
Hopefully.
Yeah. It looks like chainmail.
Yes. And it is awesome. You use it just like a wash rag for your dishes.
Interesting.
Where did
Where
you
do you
get all those nose rings at? And how did you get them to stay together?
I'm just talented. You just wish you was as cool as I am.
Does that have little bearings on it or something?
No,
Or
it's
is it just
just
chainmail?
it's like chainmail.
So I could make me a shirt out of that, and I would be, I could become a professional cast iron scrubber.
Well, that and you could be a professional shark feeder.
Shark feeder. I am shark teeth might get you that.
Hey, Sister Kate, I kind of lost you with the light copper wrapped magnet that goes back and forth. I don't know. I've lost you.
A copper wrapped magnet. It'll spin. It'll spin really fast and create energy.
Oh, so you mean like an electric motor?
Yeah, it's kind of like a generator.
Yeah. My question going
I
back.
use my dog to clean mine too, Rachel. Don't tell anybody. And after the dog gets through, I don't wash it or nothing. I just like put it back on the stove. It's ready to rock. I'm just saying. I mean,
Yeah, no.
And
you don't
Wes,
stop licking until there's nothing there. So,
Wes,
you wondered why those burgers tasted so good. I let the dog lick their butt, lick the pan, and then I
there
cooked.
you go.
all right. Remind me the next time if I ever see you guys at the next meet, if you guys are bringing food, not to eat any of it.
I trust you. I have fed my dog with the pork I'm eating with and then finished eating.
It wasn't.
See, Abe's my official scale mill dude.
Oh yeah, yeah. He showed us some of his scale mail. Well, I know he's showing me his scale mail gloves or gauntlets. I think that'd be a appropriate term.
I made a breastplate out of 1/8-inch steel plate one time just because I was bored, and then I wanted to see how tough it was, and I let somebody hit me with a little t-ball bat, and it bended it. So don't do that.
Bent the metal.
Yeah, 1/8-inch steel will not stand up to a baseball bat. The end.
Yeah, but it will stop a sword. It will stop a blade.
Yeah, it'll stop a knife, but it will not stop an axe. So there you go. And you're still worried about the blunt force deal. A knife, yeah, but as far as in a knife fight, if you've got on plates from a plastic barrel, the knife's not getting through.
Yeah,
but it's not going to stop a bullet.
If I ever have a plate armor set, I want to be, the classic Greek style armor, with the big old helmet with the headdress on it.
And basically, Sister Kate, it's magnets and copper coils, and it makes electricity. Well, isn't it the alternator that you have to have? It has to have an electrical charge to actually activate the electromagnet to start the electrical process. The generator just has the magnets. The alternator does not have magnets.
The one thing I can say that is different between an alternator and a generator is the alternator has diodes, and like those are the parts that usually those are your weak link on an alternator. I know those are the parts. If in case there were to be a quote unquote EMP, those would be the parts that would actually fry on the alternator. But you can actually tell your diodes those are usually the first things that are going out on your alternator. When you have to replace your alternator, you start to hear like a high pitched whining noise. I found this out the hard way when right before I was getting ready to leave Connecticut for good and never come back. I started hearing this high pitched whining noise coming from my alternator, and found out I was only getting roughly about 70% charge. So my battery wasn't even getting a full charge. And I found out, oh, my alternator's on its last leg. But
Well, alternator makes an alternating current, and the diodes turn it into a flatline AC. I think that's the right term for it. Correct me if I'm wrong. A generator, DC generator, makes real like controlled lightning. It's flatline electricity. There's a difference. A Lincoln welder is a generator. Most of your Miller and Hobarts are alternators, big alternators. And yeah, that's why the arc's just a little bit better. I think no need to get into depth, but I'd actually prefer to weld with a Miller than a Lincoln.
I do too.
Craig didn't fall off the earth.
That
Hey, Rob.
I've only ever used Millers in my welding.
Yes, Craig, but a magneto is basically a generator. It has magnets. That's why it's called a magneto. Colorado,
You can actually make a generator with stationary magnets and stationary coils by taking like a iron flywheel that has slots cut in it and spinning the iron flywheel, and your magnets and your coils stay stationary. Makes a very efficient generator.
I saw one of those on here on YouTube. Some guy from England made it. It was actually pretty wicked. I don't want to turn a bicycle that much though. Now, if you could get a horse,
that's why you need a vertical wind generator.
There you go. What do you think about? I'm gonna run this by you, Buzzard. Okay, a trolling motor is a DC motor, right? It's got the magnets and stuff like that. What do you think about trying to make a little wind generator, a miniature wind generator out of one of those? Do you think it'd work? Basically,
I think
just stepped up the size of the fan, right?
I think that you would need to make
with a DC motor. Yes, you can make it.
Sorry.
Do what?
Oh, and for those of you who don't understand why I'm asking Buzzard specifically, this guy is a closet flipping genius. He's a scientist. He's pretending to be Sir from Okoskokie or whatever. He's not. He's a brainiac. So, what'd you put in your eyes, Rob? It's not that bad. Come on. It's for the most handsomest people you've ever seen on here. Where do you take offense to that? What do you do? Oh, I forgot I had pepper juice in my fingers from taking them off the smoker and rubbed my eyes.
Oh,
Yeah, hey, Rob, you ought to go wash that. Make sure you use plenty of soap.
I'll be right back.
That's all support. That's supporting my friend.
I was going to say, I would think that if you're going to try to use any sort of motor as a quote unquote generator, you need to have a means of getting it to spin a certain number of RPMs just to even generate electricity that's used.
But when you pick up trolling motors
on that
garage
RPM
sales all the time. Say again?
You can use caps on the in a variable speed wind generator. You can use caps, load banks of caps, and when they reach a full capacity, they unload. And if you use enough of them, you get a pretty good steady flow of electricity then.
I never thought about that. I mean, because a capacitor doesn't care what voltage is going in; it'll charge off of any voltage, right? I mean, you can charge a 480 capacitor with 12 volts. It still hurts like fire coming out the other side.
I've watched plenty of videos of
now,
gas.
you can
exploding.
take a well, that's why you use caps instead of well, they're They're not very big. They're not like an old-fashioned capacitors. I think they're more electronic than they are the old ones that used to go on, or that go on motors and stuff.
That's the little bitty 1000 UF caps that are in the electronics and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy, you charge one of those
Like
things
the
and
blue
touch somebody
ones?
with it, and you can put them on the ground. That hurts, buddy.
Oh,
It's 1000 UF coming out of there.
Knock the fire out of you.
It'll zap the snot out of you. I have not done that to anybody
But
ever.
you can get them. You can get them where they'll unload at a certain voltage.
Yes. I can actually order a stack of. I can get a 12 or a 12.5 for like $5, which would be pretty perfect, I guess. And why are you cooking poppers without anybody there, or without me there specifically? I guess I don't remember getting the invitation.
I got a question though with those caps you're talking about. So in theory, could a person make a taser with one of those? Stun gun, maybe?
That's pretty much what a taser is.
Pretty much.
You load it. They load up off of a 9-volt battery to like 50,000 volts.
Because the capacitor will charge and dump as fast as the electricity runs through it. I mean, the second you touch
Right.
electricity,
That's why you want to use multiple ones.
it's charged. Yeah. And then you run that through a step-up coil, and all of a sudden now you're running flatline DC. You're running 4,000, 5,000, 50,000 volts of flatline DC between two contactors on the end of a flashlight, and you're ruining people's days at the park. My wife wants a taser. She's not getting one because she is just as bad as I am.
I'd recommend a stun gun with those two prongs where you have to walk up to somebody and make contact with them.
What? Oh, that's Bear. I
Yeah.
could not figure out what you were doing with that wig.
Yeah.
That's my little Ewok.
I'm going to have to turn the air conditioner. Why is it hot in my room? That was her chance to say because you're talking too much, but she didn't do that. Okay, so we have decided that a DC motor will make electricity. And I've often wondered if it would pay to try to get your hands on a big generator like an old Lincoln SA200, but I don't think you can convert that much flatline. I don't know how. Let me rephrase that. I don't know how you would create that much DC current into usable AC current. I don't know. You'd have to build your own inverter.
Yeah.
For sure. Dinner served. What are we eating?
Yeah, you're right there, Ted. Oh,
It's weird.
The
fact that it's low ampere high voltage, it hurts, but it won't kill you.
Yeah.
You get a few hundred amps going through you,
Yeah.
and you're tough.
I don't even think it's a few hundred. I think it's just a few. But hey, Biddy Boo, Sister Kate asked, how's your critters?
Oh, they're awesome. Little man, he won't eat. He won't take a bottle no more.
What is
He
it?
thinks he's a big boy. He eats great.
Tang milk Tang with milk in it and applesauce pizza.
Ew.
Yeah. That's what our Hawaiian sister's having for supper or lunch or whatever time of day it is over there.
That's okay. Your stomach
So-
won't know different, so your taste buds will.
A creamsicle.
Quit. Mayor, stop.
And there's a picture, and that's what she's actually.
Ted Seaman says 5 or half an amp, so 0.5 amps, and you're in trouble.
Oh, that's her supper. That's
Flip
pizza.
it, face it this way.
There it is. Applesauce on pizza and Tang in milk. Yummy.
I'll take her word for it.
Wes,
So yeah, she'll and people give me grief about eating rats. I'm just saying. You know, my wife had to convince me that eating pineapple on pizza was okay. If she hadn't left that pizza in the refrigerator overnight and me being hungry the next day, I never would have tried it. I was like, I'm hungry. I can eat anything. I ate it and I'm like, oh, this is good.
I love Canadian bacon pizza with pineapple.
hey, Wes, Ted said half an amp. Half an amp would kill you. Or
I know I've been wrapped up in electricity enough to know it sucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Dave, I know.
Hey, Wes, I'm going to steal the show for a minute.
I'm good speaking terms.
Okay.
With one another.
What you got, Buzzard?
You know that baby bed picture I showed you?
Oh yeah, are you gonna show the baby bed?
Let me see if I can get this word.
Yeah, this thing's flipped. That's a baby bed. Hold on, yeah. Oh, come on, work camera.
I don't know how well you can see it.
Shaped like horseshoes.
It's a horseshoe. Yeah, with a saddle on it.
That's a baby bed.
That's one of the kind right there.
Oh, now that is cute.
Yeah.
I want one of those in grown up. I'd sleep in that, but
that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, can
You made
make
that all
one of
yourself?
those sides and put a motor on it to where it kind of rocks?
Yeah, I made it. This is the second one I've made.
Wow.
I would never get out of bed.
That's the second one I made. The first one I made for my oldest son was a horseshoe with a Texas star, and all the insides that was empty had cowhide on it. So,
Sister Kate, we're fairly certain that that's required for if you need a baby bed. I'm just saying that. I think probably somebody's pregnant.
No, he just likes making baby cribs.
I don't know. Yeah,
I was
I go
getting ready to say, I'm sorry, but I build them for my kids.
Also, now there, Sister Kate down Frost. There's two places here that make barbecued pizza, and I cannot stomach.
I have never ate
That is
barbecue.
a sin. That is a blatant misuse of Southern barbecue and Italian pizza pie. That. Just no. Or that. What is that potato pizza? What is that stupid potato pizza they make? It's like
A what?
pizza that has like hog rotten potatoes or something on it, man. It's like disgusting.
There.
Yeah, that may be it. Yeah, I think a chopped barbecue pizza with if they made a pizza at Blacklands, it would probably be pretty good. But it has to be good barbecue. I mean, that's the key. It has to be good barbecue. And I don't know I've never eaten barbecue from north of the Mason-Dixon line, so I don't know if the people up there even know how to barbecue. Barbecue is southern, okay? It's something we started in Texas. Texas invented the barbecue, and it spread there across the world. And I don't know if that's true.
I don't know who in the world thought of putting hairy little fish on a pizza. But evidently,
Do a live
they were
stream.
a
Okay.
person.
Okay.
You have to make the tang and then drink it. It's a challenge. I don't know how much tang you're supposed to put.
Oh, no, Sister Kate. Rachel is not pregnant. Rachel, are you pregnant? I don't think she's pregnant. She's just weird. See, she's been eating that stuff ever since she's been on here. That's Lance's mama, in case you're wondering. The really the little good looking little Hawaiian kid that I helped to deliver while she was in the live stream. I'm claiming that. All I did was make jokes about her, making sure she did her breathing and stuff the whole time. But I'm just saying that after that, it was a problem for the delivery, and the boy's smart. He's handsome. He's healthy. Pretty sure I had a lot to do with that.
Bear.
Pretty sure.
Stop.
I'm pretty sure.
Buzzard. This is the most detailed thing I've ever made, and I'd say your thing is kind of your baby crib is kind of cake. That's the most detailed thing I've ever made out of wood. Yeah.
Like I said, I like working with wood. So.
All right, let me get out of screen share mode. Come on. Oh, come on. Oh, what the heck?
I missed it. Show it again. I missed it. The yours? I missed it.
Oh, hang on. Hang on. I gotta see if it's gonna share real quick. Hang on. Is it sharing?
I made it in my own toothpick once.
I don't see anything.
Oh, hang on. Maybe it's not sharing. It won't let me share.
Oh, okay.
Dang. Oh well. It's not. Yeah, it's not letting me do a screen share. Thought it would.
I don't know. I don't know how to give you permission to do that, man. Honestly.
Weird things when pregnant.
I don't have weird cravings when I'm pregnant. Mostly because I don't get pregnant. Me and my wife have never been pregnant. My wife has been pregnant 3 times.
I don't know about anyone else's. Their screens froze because mine.
No, mine's not frozen.
Mine's not froze. Mine's about room temperature. I think that's supposed to be sweet.
Those stun guns will stop a dog fight instantly. I believe it.
I bet Buzzard. Buzzard, are you getting anything? You may have to refresh it. Sweet versus
How do you
spicy
refresh it?
There, just the refresh button up at the top, or if you're on your phone, I don't know. Are you leaving, Craig? Where are you going? You just got here. Are you offended because
I'm back on now.
Buzzard. I made
Oh,
this.
Yes.
It's not real.
Oh,
Oh.
But that's not what that wasn't the
I've
thing I was
made
trying to show
everything
you.
from little puzzle
Go out
boxes
there.
to
Did I have to go out
Sweet bird. Werewolf, there's no such thing as spicy barbecue. There, I said it.
Sacrilege.
You can make a spicy barbecue sauce, but if the ribs come off the grill and somebody picks up that rib and bites into it and their mouth catches on fire, you have ruined that rack of ribs. If you want to have a spicy dipping sauce on the side, that's up to you. But to actually put heat into your barbecue sauce, that's in one of the books that they left out of the Bible. It says, and if you make the barbecue sauce too hot, you shall be excommunicated from the church. Oh, I just made that up. But seriously, I mean, why would you want to make it where only some of you want to eat it? Barbecue is supposed to be where everybody wants to eat it. Even the guy that says, "Oh, this barbecue sauce ain't hot enough," he's eating it.
Oh, hey, real quick. Sorry. Hey, Buzzard. Sister Kate was asking, can you make the wagon wheel? Buzzard.
Can I
Sister
make
Kate,
a wagon wheel baby
Yeah.
bed?
That's what
I think
Sister
just
Kate.
wagon wheel
was
period.
If you can, I want to order one.
Yeah, it wouldn't be hard to do.
Well, thanks, Sister Kate. That's
Like
that
I
wasn't the
said,
thing.
so far, I build them for my kids. I'm sure Wes knows I've got 9.
Baseball team. But he makes that stuff for his family or whatever. It's he's like one of those artists, and his stuff's too good for just anybody or whatever. And if I used to make furniture, and here's the deal: you cannot make a piece of furniture of any quality at all and then charge people what it's actually worth. Not without being defamed, having your character bashed, and having yourself called all kinds of names. You're only going to sell one piece anyway. Then that piece is going to be shipped to China or to Mexico. They're going to disassemble it. They're going to run it through a scanner, and they're going to cough that stuff out at CNC wood shop, and they're going to start selling them for $50 a piece at the dollar store.
Mm-hmm.
And people are going to buy them.
If I see something at the dollar store for $50, I'm at the wrong dollar store.
I've actually turned down $2,500 for one.
Yeah.
$2,500 crib.
My son made a toddler bed for his boy, and there's no way he could sell that toddler bed for less than $800. People aren't going to pay $800 for a handmade anything, and I don't understand that. Yet they'll go to a furniture store and they'll pay $800 for a couch that was made in half a day.
Mm.
Yeah, this is.
I want to get me a.
She's just saying that that's a lost skill. Buzzard, Sister Kate's is saying that making a wagon wheel is a lost skill, and it could be needed after an EMP or any kind of large scale event. And she is right there. But the thing about a wagon wheel, you've got to have two processes. You've got to be able to do the woodworking part,
and you've
got to be able to band that with steel, because an unbanded wagon wheel is not going to last but a couple of weeks.
Yeah. I believe that metal band on the outside of the wagon wheel is called a tire, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I just call them bands.
Sorry, you're gonna have to repeat that.
No, so what Wes was saying, like, in order to build a wagon wheel, you're gonna, you gotta know two processes: the carpentry portion and then the metal work, because you gotta make the metal band that goes around the wagon wheel so it doesn't get all chewed up prematurely. But like I said,
I think you're right. It's a tire. not like
Yeah.
a TIRE, but a tire, like you tie it together.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's a band. I actually found one out in the back pasture.
Yeah.
You can those things are. This one it's got heavy signs of wear on it, and it is still 3/8 of an inch thick.
Yeah.
So
If I'm
those
not
bands
mistaken,
that went around the outside of that wagon wheel weren't wafer thin.
those tires, the way they get them on, like, I mean, after you get the two halves, I'm not sure if they rivet them together, but after you get the two ends tied together, so you get your round little hoop shape, then they heat that up like so it's like red hot, so it'll expand, and then you set your wood wagon wheel in the middle, and then as it cools off, it contracts and it basically just shrinks and just kind of pushes all the wood joints together. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, I don't know how they did it. I know they go on there
Yes.
pretty tight.
No, you're right on that.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, and believe it or not, like you remember the old-fashioned steam locomotives? They also had metal tires that went around the wheels themselves too. I think it's the same process. They have this metal band. They heat it up. They heat it up red hot, and then they set it on the wheel and let it cool down. And as it cools down, it contracts and it shrinks to the wheel. And that metal tire is actually what takes the wear and tear of the rail. And they would have to change those tires out every so often. I'm not sure how often.
Yeah, I saw something the other day on a commercial for Walking Dead or something. They had converted a minivan into a wagon, and they were pulling it with 2 horses. And I'm like, not going to happen. Cutting the top off of something and making it an open air deal and dragging it. Can you imagine the weight that those horses would have to pull?
You
to
better be
drag
pulling
that?
the engine and transmission out and the gas
You
tank
gotta
and
pull
what
They
it
want
else.
the motor and
You're looking
transmission out
at
of
4 draft animals. 4 draft animals minimum. 1 horse pulls 1 buggy. 2 horses pulls a buckboard. 4 horses pull a wagon. 6 horses to 12 horses, depending on the weight in it, will pull a freight wagon. These stop believing what you saw on TV. There was a team of 12 horses in front of a stagecoach.
We lost Buzzard.
He'll probably be back. But 12 horses to pull a stagecoach. There was a stop every 10 miles to change horses, and they weren't running them. So the horses were moving at about 8 to 10 miles an hour. And after an hour of work, then they switched horses.
Interesting.
It's or thereabouts. And I could be wrong on that. I'm not a Wild West specialist. But even back in the day on the steam locomotives, the reason there are so many small towns up and down the highway that aren't there anymore, you'll just see a sign and there's no town. There used to be a railroad there. That town was built around a water supply because the train had to stop and pick up water every 10 to 15 miles, period. It couldn't make it any further than that. And then we put Buzzard back in here.
Hey, David, I hope you've never been pregnant.
All right, Trey, you leaving? Hey, Trey, I was using your dad's knife the other day. Just FYI. I like that knife, buddy. I really do. It's right there. Yes. Mules are stronger than horses. Mules can run faster than horses. You have to have 2 species to make a mule.
Because
so you have to have a breeding program specifically for mules.
Now, which one has to give birth? Is it the mare, like the horse, or is it the donkey for the mule?
The mare, it has to be the donkey on the mare, and it'll work the other way, but you wind
You
up
could
with
kill your Jenny.
they're smaller.
You might wind up with what? Say
It
that
would
again,
kill
Wes.
it.
You kill your donkey?
Yes. But yeah, if a
I don't know
if you have if you have a male, if you have a stud horse and he mounts a little Jenny, which is a donkey, there's a possibility not only is he going to break her back, but when she goes to give birth, the baby's going to be too big.
I think Buckaroo's trying to say goodnight to us. Are you bugging out on it, Bucker?
I've got a baby shower that for my daughter in the morning, and we got stuff that we got to.
Oh,
Night,
All right,
Buzzard.
well, if you can still hear us, God bless. Tell her we're praying
Yeah.
for her. Happy, healthy,
yeah.
all that stuff.
Good night, Buzzard. Or no, he's still
Sister, Sister Kate, a draft horse is completely different than a regular horse. What was that draft horse that guy offered to give Kirsten? What was that, 19 and a half hands? It
I think
was
the Shire, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Shire is like the largest breed of draft horse, and the Clydesdale is like the smaller.
I could go under this horse. No, I couldn't stand up and do it, but I could go under this horse.
Duck walk under it.
I could not
I
see
think,
over the horse.
I think your
The horse
small Clydesdales.
This at the shoulders.
If I'm remembering right, the small Clydesdales are 25 hands high.
Yeah, I mean, Clydesdales are huge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but they're the smaller breed of the draft horses, though. The Shire,
Yeah.
the Shire is the largest breed of draft horse that I'm aware of. Unless there's another breed, somebody type it up in the comments.
the what's the guy on Mountain Man? The guy that lives like he was in the 1800s or something like that. Eustace. He can train a horse to the wagon or the plow or whatever. He actually knows how to do it. And he put his horse on a wagon that he redid, and this was a real lightweight wagon. And he had to drive. I forget how many miles he had to drag it, but that horse almost blew its heart out trying to drag an empty wagon like 3 miles because it was in hill country. There's a difference between flat and hill. There's a difference between a large breed draft horse and your standard breed. There's a lot of difference there. The amount of feed for a draft horse is crazy. And they didn't use draft horses very much at all in the West. And y'all will forgive me. I've got to go out and teach my daughter's dog that you do not bark to get in.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah. All right. Keith Gronk called a wheelwright for wagon wheels. Yeah. Yeah, I think, you're right on that one. $20,000 easily. I can't confirm that. I haven't ridden a horse since I was like 5 or 6, so I don't know. Your knowledge is probably better than mine, Sister Kate.
Well, I was watching a documentary on some horses, and there was this one horse. He was 37 hands tall.
Holy
I was
crap.
like, holy moly, do you have to have a ladder to get on him? But his butt looked like it was about 4 foot broad. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh, and just muscular. I was
I've
like,
always wanted to have a draft horse if I ever get in the horses.
I love draft horses.
Yeah.
But can you imagine having to purchase the shoes
Yeah.
to put on one? Because those shoes, I mean, I think the shoes weigh like 3 to 5 pounds a piece.
I think those are the same shoes that they use for throwing horseshoes, in the game of horseshoes, the ones that they use on draft horses.
So it's like, holy cow.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the Shire is the largest breed. And the Shire they have many different colors of coats as far as I'm aware. They got black, white, and I think they come in kind of like a brown or chestnut kind of color.
I used to have a book about the biggest breeds, the smallest breeds, and
I know the oldest existing breed of horse is the Przewalski wild horse, found in Russia and Mongolia. It's the oldest breed. It's also an endangered species. Was. I don't know if it still is. Ain't that right, Wes?
What's that?
We're talking about different horses. We're talking about
Horses eat hay. And if they get pissed off, they'll throw you off and they'll break your ribs.
I think the Przewalski wild horse is also the smallest breed of horse.
They
Not
step on
Say again?
Horses eat hay. They have attitudes.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts to fall off of them. It hurts when they step on your feet.
It hurts when you get kicked. And sometimes what? Oh, they bite.
Sometimes they box.
I was gonna say they hurt when they kick too. You don't stand behind a horse.
Well, when you work putting the saddle on or whatever, or walking around working on a horse, you keep contact with the animal so he knows it's you walking behind him, or her, it, whatever. But
then you've got some of them that just don't care. They'll just kick the snot out of you anyway.
and that's the one that goes. That's the one. That's why we need to get horses put back on the slaughterhouse menu. No reason for people to go hungry and that horse to get to continue to eat grass. If he is a danger to the other animals around him and to the people around him, there needs to be a viable option. I mean, that is not a fur baby. That is a 2,000-pound animal that could kill you if he gets mad. And if he's proven that he's that kind of guy, then, or girl or whatever, the end. I mean, either you're in it for the species or you're not. I'm on the people side.
It's usually what I've seen is usually it's a stud horse that acts that way.
Meanest horse I ever was around was a mare.
That's interesting to know, Keith.
But that's like if you're riding a horse and you have a mare in front of that horse that's in heat, he don't care if there's another rider on that horse. He's going to try to mount.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way a lot of people get hurt.
Keith, come on, man. Horses are made out of meat. The same meat that a goat's made out of, or a cow is made out of, or a deer is made out of. There's just as much food value in a horse steak as there is in a cow steak. There's just as much meat value in a horse steak as there is in a deer steak.
I would come near eating a cow than a horse because I love horses. I love cattle too.
I thought I couldn't confirm this because I've never eaten horse, but I thought the quality of horse meat is not very good compared to that of cattle. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
If you're hungry, anything's quality.
If raised for food, as in they're not exercised daily and they're just allowed to walk around in the pasture and eat, and you feed them sweet feed and oats and stuff, and you keep them balanced diet and stuff, there's not a whole lot of difference.
Yeah.
America is the only country that doesn't eat horse.
Yeah.
Well, that's why there's going to be a lot of people are going to give food to their dogs in an event. They're going to give their flipping poodle that's epileptic and on its last legs food. And then they're going to pass away. And then that epileptic poodle is going to eat their face. Because that dog, once you're dead, you're no longer his furless mama. You are meat.
Yeah.
At least I like to think that if I die, my son or my daughter aren't going to chop me up and put me in the stew pot. Sadie, on the other hand, is going to eat the tender parts first. And then she will bury pieces of me, and then she will dig them up, and she will eat them later. Because she's a dog.
I was going to say, isn't this whole forbidden pork that you were talking about the other night?
I don't buy into the clean and unclean food or whatever.
Yeah, I don't either.
And Sister Kate, I mean, no disrespect. I fully understand why people choose to, and I do not condemn people for it. I actually applaud people for going the extra mile in worshiping God and wanting to do it that way. There's no biblical precedence against it. None. But when it's down to let's eat your baby today and my baby tomorrow, or let's eat the dog. Eat the dog first. It's that simple. There's a reason I don't keep Chihuahuas. I love Chihuahuas. I actually prefer small dogs. There's more meat on a Catahoula. A lot. And I'm sorry. I know I don't look like it. I got facial hair. I'm blonde. But I come from a long line of people that eat dogs. And we used to eat horses when it got really bad. Okay?
Don't worry. That stuff will be brought back to the norm pretty soon if things get as bad as we think they're going to do.
It's going to kill people. The whole thing of holding their pets in such high regard. Dogs are held in no higher regard in the Bible than swine were. So there you go. I mean, there you go. They had a different purpose. That was it.
Back to the conversation of horses. Before we get too far, what was it? Keith said that he, on his spare time, he works under an 80-year-old wheelwright building wagon wheels. And Ted Seaman says the largest largest recorded horse was a Shire breed at 20 hands and at 3,000 pounds. And Sister Kate said that the record Shire team pulled 100,000 pounds. That's 50,000 tons. I mean, sorry, 50
how many
tons? 100,000 tons. 100,000 pounds, 50 tons.
How many were in the team?
I don't know. I know there's old black and white photos of the Titanic when it was still under construction at the shipyards. They had this team of, I think they were Clydesdales. They had like 16 horses pulling a 15.5-ton anchor out of the forge.
Well, that's pulling it out of, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a difference between pulling something down a rail. They used to use teams of 4 or 6 mules to pull barges on the river. They had guys on poles just pushing to keep the barge out in the water, and then the mules would pull because they could pull, that team of mules could pull 50, 60,000 pounds for, they could pull it all day because it's out in the water. But, you can't, there's a difference between pulling something 100 feet and pulling something 20 miles.
Yeah,
Or,
I have no way of verifying how far these team of horses pulled this anchor. I just know they had it on a wagon. And they had them all. Well, they had them all chained up, all on the line. They're just pulling this wagon with this giant anchor.
An average team of horses for a horse-drawn dadgummit sickle, the thing that cuts the hay or the wheat or whatever, so you can yada yada yada, was 40 on large operations. 40 horses
For one implement.
Yeah.
Just one implement?
I take that back. It wasn't. It was a combine. But it took 40 horses to pull this thing. And but these are just regular size horses. Draft horses. But one draft horse will eat over twice what 2 regular horses will eat.
Mm-hmm.
Horses go through a lot of food. People don't realize that. I mean, horses eat all the time. They are eating all day long.
Well, and they're also ripping the grass up by the roots.
Yep.
Where a cow bites it off, a horse will rip it out of the ground.
I suppose this is why it's important to have many, many acres for just a couple of horses and have them kind of fenced off in sections so they aren't stripping it.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's 5 acres per horse.
And it depends on your area. 5 acres won't keep a horse alive here.
Yeah. No, I don't think it won't keep them alive here either.
I mean here. I think it's 5 acres per horse.
Where are you at?
9,600 acres at BTSR. They have to put out supplemental hay during the winter to keep those on 9,600 acres. They have to put out supplemental hay during the winter to keep those guys from starving to death. Because it's a desert.
Yeah.
It all depends on where you're at. Up there in Oklahoma, you can get away with murder. You got grass all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, you cut the same pasture how many times to bale for hay a year? Down here, we do it once.
On good years, you can bale it 3 to 4 times. But a regular year, you can bale it at least twice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can get two cups a year down here, but you got to water it. So yeah, it all depends on what you can get away with. All depends on your area, and I'm telling you, you can bet on being able to do all this fantabulous stuff with a couple of horses, but you're better off with a mule. But let's say you go into it with 2 mules, you don't have any way to make 2 more mules.
Yeah, because mules are sterile.
You bought trained mules. You didn't go and train the mules. You didn't go pay the guy extra money to train the mules while you were there. So you would know how to train the next bunch of mules because you're smart enough to go get you a mare and a donkey. So every 2 years you get a new get replacement stock for your team. A mule will live 20 years or longer, dependent upon things. How hard you work them, how well you feed them, whether or not they get sick. Horses are just like sheep, man. They're a big animal walking around looking for some reason to die. I mean, an unshod horse steps on the wrong rock, gets an infection in his foot.
Oh, because the hoof split.
Yep. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, yeah, you can nurse him back to health, but what's helping the other one pull? I've seen cows walking around in pastures with welding rods stuck up through their hooves.
Jesus.
There's so much junk out there in the world now that is, and I got a mesquite thorn in my foot that it hurt a lot. It magically doesn't hurt a cow or a horse to step on a mesquite thorn. I think it hurts.
I was gonna say you're gonna have to trim the hoofs too on the horses regularly because you don't want they'll split if you don't trim them.
Yep.
And I was gonna say over here because it's semi-arid and it's kind of sort of like a desert, but not 100% a desert. And this is a high environment, and on top of that, the soil here is very sandy and gravelly. I think the horses would die prematurely up here too, because my old neighbor, back when I was a kid, they had the one horse. I mean, he finally did die, but he died because he took in a lot of sand whenever he ate grass. And as far as my knowledge goes about horses, they can't vomit. They are incapable of vomiting. So if they eat a whole bunch of stuff that's not good for them, you have to basically give them some sort of medicine or something like that will actually force them to vomit.
I don't know. I'm not a vet or anything like that. I know that if a horse gets into the wrong kind of forage, he can actually make himself deathly ill to the point where his digestive system. Because if a horse finds a field of clover and pigs out on it, he's going to get sick.
Yep.
Cow can eat clover all day long. Horse can't.
Well,
I know.
like
Browsers. There's a deal in here on the goats and the way they eat. Goats are browsers. Sheep are grazers. Goats will eat grass when there's nothing else. They prefer weeds and trees. Goats will actually climb trees to get to the leaves to eat them. Seen it. Sheep will eat everything down to about 1.5 inches tall. And if there's no place to go to, they'll keep eating.
Yeah.
Horses will pick grass up. I've seen horses on a golf course eating a mowed lawn. They fix the fence and put the horses up. A horse can eat anything that's not under the dirt. And if they can get their lips on it and their teeth on it, they will pull it up. You know, if it breaks, fine. If it doesn't, they'll chew the roots off and let them fall. They're talented. But now hogs, they go in nose first, eat the grass, the roots, everything. They don't care. They eat it all. Ooh, how big was that hog again? 350, 400 pounds is what they were guessing. This thing's flipping. He sent a picture. We got a friend of ours sent us a picture. It was killed at Polar, which is not far from the house. Thing looks straight up, looks like a Russian boar. And they're guessing 350, 400 pounds. Thing's huge. I mean, hogs around here, they get up about 150, 200 pounds. This thing is a flipping monster for this area.
Hogzilla.
Well, we were hoping that nobody would bring the Russian boar this far over west and we wouldn't have to deal with it. But then, where was that the lady got eaten?
What?
Did the lady get eaten the other day?
When I went the other day, it's been a little while back, but it was by Fort Worth.
By Fort Worth, Texas. Lady spooked some hogs in her yard. They scared her. She twisted her ankle, fell down, knocked herself unconscious. So
Oh, yeah. Of course, I've heard stories of if you raise hogs, on a hog farm, and you fall asleep in the pig pen, they'll try to eat you.
Yeah, I like hogs.
What if I vanish? My phone died.
Okay.
I was
Sheep
gonna say,
are stupid, man. Sheep are stupid. Sheep are like, I'm gonna run into that tree. Think, oh, that hurt. I'm gonna do it again.
I was gonna say, my old house out in Missouri, we would have, if we were to raise cattle, we would have also needed to raise sheep and goats because we had a lot of like noxious weeds like poison ivy, stuff that I was highly allergic to.
Yeah, goats will eat poison ivy. They don't like milkweed that much, but they will eat it. They'll eat broomweed flowers, which really helps. They'll eat mintweed. They'll eat cedar. They really like elm trees. They will eat the bark right off of a pecan tree. Do not have goats in your pecan orchard. They will literally bark your trees. They do not like mesquite. They'll eat mesquite beans, but they won't eat mesquite leaves unless there's nothing else. They like hackberry leaves, mulberry leaves. They love the fall. They'll go around. They will rake your yard. They will literally chase the leaves as they fall off the tree and pick them up and eat them. They've been trying to get to those leaves all summer long. The leaves start falling, and here come the goats, just picking them up. But goats will kill and eat everything. Wherever you feed them, they will hang out there. If ever I get goats again and I have acreage, I will always feed them in a different place. Because I don't want them hanging out at a specific place waiting to be fed. Ever again.
Yeah.
They had range of 54 acres. They ate the area around my house down to a nub. Nothing grows.
Wow.
But there was weeds 3 feet tall, 50 yards out the back door. They wouldn't go get them. They were literally just bang, 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 bang.
I'm not gonna lie. If I get enough money to start up a homestead, I would like to raise goats and rabbits. Rabbits produce way more meat than cattle do, and if I'm not mistaken, I think goats produce more milk, and they'll eat down all the noxious weeds.
Well, goats on the milk, a Saanen goat will produce a gallon of milk, and which is, if you milk twice a day, that's 2 gallons. I've got a Holstein heifer, and according to the research I've done, a Holstein heifer will give you 7 gallons of milk a day.
Huh.
And I don't have a large enough use for. I don't ever intend on doing dairy cows. I am not into work that much. Even the guy that owns the dairy next door to me, he's not into work that much. He spent, I don't know, $12 million building a dairy that the cows never go outside. And they literally, when they get ready to be milked, they walk into a deal and the machine hooks up to the cows. They don't even do anything.
Yeah, automated. Yeah.
Car wash goes through the little car wash, automatically watches and then sticks thing on, milks the cow goes back and eats some more. I mean, what the hell?
Well, I think with goats though, you don't need nearly as much acreage, nearly as much feed or grass. That's the deal though. And
goats are good, small, whatever. Now, if I could afford to get myself one of the mini cows or whatever, and they're not actually a mini cow, they're a small breed of cow, I would consider that. And any cow, any female bovine can be milked as long as you train them. When you say dairy cow, that's the ones that are designed to put out this massive amount of milk. I mean,
and good
that,
cream.
What does
A meat cow, if you train it to milk, that's fine. You're going to get milk, but you're not going to get much cream.
Still, what am I going to do with more than a pound of cream a day?
You will.
I don't plan on I'm not Canadian. I don't need a pound of butter for one trout.
I do, and I'm an Okie.
Why would you put a pound of butter? You see, that's if you got to put that much butter on a fish, you just don't like fish.
I put butter in everything.
I do too, a little bit.
I don't a little bit. I'm Paula Dean, damn it. Oops, sorry.
Oh, that's it.
That's two. So you guys are.
Did y'all see the thing where now YouTube can make it age? They can age restrict your video. That's not even up to you now. They can age restrict your video.
Yeah, I think that also goes hand in hand with they can automatically just make your video private without your notification or your permission too.
And horses probably won't eat you. You're correct, Sister
Yeah.
Kate.
Oh, about the horses. If I'm not mistaken, if hay gets rained on, like baled hay, if it gets rained on, it'll grow like a mold, or not a mold, like a fungus, and the horses can't eat that because if they do, it'll kill them.
That's right. It'll kill the horses.
And you can get the same thing by baling the hay when it's wet, too wet.
Yep.
And there's a fungus that grows on feed corn. You've got to be careful if it gets, blah, blah, blah. You can't buy feed corn straight and hunt it, wait from the silos anymore because somebody's horse got sick and died, and now they won't do it because they had to pay for somebody's $60,000 animal. Dude, you should have had the feed test.
Yeah.
That corn could have picked up the virus or the fungus in your own silo. It's part of having it. That's part of the risk.
I thought silos they were used for fermenting the feed, like fermenting corn or whatever, because they're like airtight or something like that, something along those lines.
No, well, some are, but others are just storage.
Yeah, I think there's those.
You want to pay for corn that's been kept in an environmentally controlled, airtight, giant capsule? I do. Well, wait a minute. That's what they make cornmeal out of. Or actually, I think they just wash the other stuff.
Now, about the cutting down the wet hay, so what, you just let it sit out for like a couple days and let it dry in the sun, or you let it sit out for a day?
You cut the hay, then you rake the hay. Then you come back, you let it dry. Then you come back and you rake it again to flip it over and let it dry again. Because if you put that wet hay in your barn, that hay, once you compress it, those gases in that hay can build up so much heat. If you don't let it dry out, your barn will catch on fire from the wet green hay.
Wow.
It'll actually produce its own heat and its own methane, and it'll go up.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe it.
But yeah, you can. Most of the guys now they cut it, and then they come back and they rake it, and then they flip it, and then they wait until early morning to bale because the moisture that's in it when they cut it needs to be gone, but the humidity from the air is okay. if you've got just enough humidity from the cool morning air in there, you can, instead of winding up with a 50-pound bale, you wind up with a 75-pound bale because it'll pack tighter. But that much moisture content won't matter. Johnson grass, a lot of people won't feed their cattle Johnson grass because Johnson grass is poisonous. It is only poisonous for a few hours after it's cut. After it dries out, it's now no longer poisonous. Johnson grass was introduced to the United States as hay. But you have to be smarter than, you can walk out there and you can eat Johnson grass all day long and it's not going to hurt you. But if you cut it and let it lay there for 15 minutes and then eat it, it will make you sick.
Now, see,
When it wilts, it makes a chemical that is poisonous or noxious. But after the moisture content is gone, that chemical breaks back down into sugars. And it's food again.
Now, see, when we were baling hay, we cut it of the morning. At noon, we flipped it, which was raking it. Then about 4 o'clock, we would rake it again, and then we would be done for the day and come back the next day around noon because we wanted the dew off of it. And we'd bale it, and our bales would be anywhere from 75 to 80 pounds.
Again, that's where you're at. Down where you're at, a dew on it, it looks like it's flipping rain here.
Yeah.
Here, we have to wait until the cool of the morning because if we try to bale it during the day after the deal, there's zero humidity. You're going to be lucky to get 40 pounds of bale in a square bale. 40 pounds of hay in a square bale. It just will not pack. Every time the forks come around to lay another layer into the bale, it's just going to expand out. And then the sensor's going to say it's full. It's going to wrap the wire. It's going to kick it out. And you're going to be able to walk out there one-handed and throw it on the trailer.
I'll be right back.
It sucks. But if you do it in the early morning, or depending on the humidity, if the humidity's up past 40%, I think, 30%, something, I can't remember, it's been a long time, then it'll make a bale.
Huh. What's the difference between hay and alfalfa?
They're both hay.
Oh, okay.
One's a clover. Alfalfa is a type of clover. It's got a lot more nutrients and stuff in it, but it's also got so much in there that, like a goat can eat pretty much all it wants to, but goats are smart enough to eat only what they can without getting ill. A horse, if you give it too much alfalfa over a period of days, will become ill. And it's actually really bad on their digestive system. And it can they'll dadgummit, they have a name for it. Anyway, it causes the horse a lot of pain. It's basically a lot of gas.
Sorry, there was somebody creeping by on a four-wheeler.
Did you shoot him?
No, when they seen me come to the door, they took off. What, Kate? In here?
Where is in here?
I'm talking to Georgina.
Oh, you're over here. You realize there's a 1, 2, 3, 4 different directions I could have went there?
You want to say hi to Georgina?
Hello.
Hello. Hey, she has a chin. There's her face. I like your shirt.
Thank you.
Does that come in my size?
Is that the one you made?
No.
Oh. She's probably texting some stupid boy.
Playing football.
If you're making them to keep them, 75-pound bales are good. If you're making them to sell them, you want them 50-pounders because there's more 50-pound bales than there are 75-pound bales.
Well, we made them to keep.
Yeah.
We had 120 head of cattle, so we had to keep everything we baled.
I've thrown bales for a living. I don't want to do that anymore.
David E. Burden says wet hay will burst into flames.
Hello.
If you bale hay when it's green, it will.
Really?
I don't know what the difference is, and if the moisture content's too high in the hay when you bale it, it can. But if the moisture content is too low when you try to bale it, you're not making bales. You're making these little soft things that they're not going to stack. They're not going to be cubed. They're going to be impossible to work with. It's just a royal pain in the butt. It's really hard on the equipment.
Good night, C103.
Not C103.
Right, guy. Yes. We just stacked out. We had a big open barn. We just made stairs. Yep, man. Sometimes though, some of those bales we had to handle them like 3 or 4 times to get them where they were going. Because there was just 2 of us throwing that crap.
Those giant, like those giant rolls of hay. Those, I don't know if that's hay or what that is, but you know what the heck I'm talking about. Big giant rolls that it's an implement that you have towed behind the tractor. It grabs up the grass and it just makes a big old giant, cylindrical roll. I want to say they're like 1,000 pounds or a couple 1,000 pounds a piece.
You're usually around 1,000. They're
Right
called
around
round balers.
I think you can get 700-pound bales, something like that. Depends on what they're made out of, too.
Yeah, but
they make silage here, David. They make silage out of hay grazer. Silage is made out of whatever you grow for hay. It's just what you do with it. If you grind it up and ferment it, it's silage. The silage they make up north, I was watching. There's a guy at something or other dairy farmer or whatever. It's a young kid. He's got a YouTube channel for his dairy, or him and his dad's dairy, and they all of it, corn, ears, everything. They grind it all up for silage. That's the same they do here. They wait for hay grazer is like a Milo that grows like 7 or 8 foot tall, and then it gets this big seed heads on top of it. Gets the Milo heads on top, and whenever the Milo heads are mature, they'll cut it. And then if they're lucky, they can cut it. They can cut it late August, and then in September, first part of September, it'll rain, which is pretty regular around here. And then they can cut it again before or after the frost in October, and silage it again.
Yep.
They can get 2 cuttings off a hay grazer here.
Chipper says 1,500-pound bale is common. Now, what can you feed silage to?
Anything.
Anything.
Even horses?
I don't know.
Yeah, see, because I'd
I'm
be
not going
worried
to go
about
through all that.
We
Work,
fed it to
though.
our horses.
Okay.
The reason you do the silage is because it's basically already it's started to be digested already. So that's what fermentation is. It's a bacteria that goes in there and starts breaking it down. That's why fermented feed for your chickens is way better for them. It's easier for them to digest. And yes, all you people that are going, you can't do that to your chicken because they're going to get the wet crawl. Pay attention to your fermentation. If it's got something other than yeast in it, don't feed it to your chickens. Throw that bucket away. Throw that feed somewhere. Feed it to the pigs. Wash it. Start over.
So how do you go about making silage out of hay without getting that fungus I was talking about that can kill the horses?
No, not a silage person. That's going. You have to go to that other channel for that. Some of it is the difference between the fungus grows on drier stuff. Are you leaving?
Oh, you got to go. Bye, Biddy Boo.
Bye, Biddy.
Then there were two of us.
Yeah, the silage it's different. It's done in a covered thing. It's an environmentally controlled thing, basically with tarps and tires. But yeast does the work in that. It's a bacteria as opposed to the fungus. That's why when you ferment your chicken feed, you have to keep it covered in water because oxygen allows the fungus to grow. Yeast doesn't need oxygen. So, we don't have enough chickens to pay to do the fermented feed. I've thought about doing small batches of it. Because literally you only have to feed about a third as much. And the chickens do that much better. And when we were feeding fermented feed, we never slaughtered a skinny animal. They were all fat. And we had 200 chickens and we were spending like nearly nothing on feed a week. And they were making, I don't know how many dozens of eggs.
Would your chickens do better at doing free range, or would they be better off just feeding them that silage?
Free range chickens are healthier chickens. The only problem is when you free range your chickens, the foxes and bobcats really like that.
Yeah. Well, the plan is if I do eventually have money to have a homestead and be able to do all this, the plan is to have the whole place like completely fenced in to the point where I don't have to worry about them wild critters that ain't supposed to be there getting on my property.
Good luck with that.
Good luck with that.
Coyotes will chew through chicken wire.
Really?
Yeah. Chicken wire is designed to keep chickens in.
Mm-hmm.
Our fence is actually cyclone, or what do you call it? I think that's the right word for it. It's the heavy wire stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
Because the coyote can't chew through that.
What is that stuff that it looks like it's horse fencing, but it's not? It's actually like a metal grate that they put in for pouring concrete, like to reinforce it. You know what I'm talking about? It's not rebar, but it looks like horse fencing, but it's a lot sturdier. I want to say the metal pieces they crisscross and make a little square grid. I want to say
you can get hog panels, cattle panels, goat panels, cow panels. We have cattle panels here that we use. Downside of cattle panels is the goat can get their head through it, but they can't get it back out. That's why the goat panels are a lot smaller, and hog panels are small at the bottom, big at the top. Horse panels are small. I think what are horse panels, like 3x3 squares or something like that? And goat panel, I think the goat panels, I think those are 4x4s. Those are actually pretty reasonable, and they're real quick. We actually made a surround for the last two young goats we had to keep them from eating everything we owned up here by the house. We put I think we had 6 panels tied together in a big circle, and we had 3 stakes that we used to hold it in place. We pulled the stakes. We would drag the circle to another spot with the goats still in it. Put the stakes back in, wire it, put the water back in there, and give them just a little bit of sweet feed every day to let them know that we still cared about them. And I think we had to move that. I think we had to move it every 3 days to keep them in food. And it was a lot of work, but it's doable. Yeah, the hog panels, you got to do a lot more about making sure they stay down. Each animal's got different rules on the fencing, how far apart the fence posts are, yada yada yada. So
I was gonna say, what if you were to bury some of that fencing down, say a foot or so into the ground, and then pour some concrete? Are they gonna still try to dig under it or try to push it down?
On my chicken yard, I have galvanized tin. I dug 6 inches down and put the galvanized tin down in the ground, and then fill the trench back. That's all I do. It's not foolproof, but if you have a decent animal that's supposed to guard your property, anything trying to dig into your chickens will set that animal off, and whatever's trying to dig into your chickens, that animal will go deal with it while you get your slippers on and come out with a shotgun and a flashlight. So a real dog is very important on the homestead, or a set of dogs.
And that would be the plan, to eventually have dogs and cats. Cats to keep down the rodents, dogs for anything big and predatorial.
Thought you said you was going to have chickens.
Yeah, I will.
Chickens will work. Chickens will handle the mice for you.
Mice?
Chickens will eat anything. Chickens will kill any rattlesnakes.
Really?
I'd
be worried about the rattlesnakes getting my chickens.
I
know they'll eat bugs.
Chickens will not have anything to do with a large rat snake or a bull snake, because they know the bull snake will bite them and squeeze them to death. But they see a little rattlesnake or whatever, they'll keep pecking on that sucker till he's dead. They'll swallow him whole. Any small snake, they'll just kill it and eat it. And if they're lucky, if they see a mouse and can get to it before it gets down in its hole, yeah, he's toast too. It's horrible to watch. We call ours raptors. They're not, but our chickens, we call them little velociraptors. They'll kill anything. Lizards don't stand a chance.
I know the chicken is the closest living relative to the prehistoric T-Rex. That's interesting. I did not know that.
And see, I need to put I'm supposed to have wire across the top of my chicken coop, but I don't.
Yeah, that's something out here we'd have to worry about, because out here we get hawks and falcons that fly around.
My hen still ain't started laying. We got a root tree ain't crowing. Scared to death. There's something sterilized this bunch too.
Oh, from your neighbors doing that stupid pesticide spraying.
But if these are sterile, I have to wonder if it wasn't something else. And if it's doing that to my birds, what's it doing to us?
That's a good point.
I mean,
do chickens eat army worms?
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what wiped out my chickens was the chickens, they were free range. Okay. They were spending their afternoons in the shade in the Milo field, and they were not eating Milo. They were eating army worms. They were helping him out by eating army worms that were eating his field. And he killed him for it. But, if they wouldn't kill all the quail, wouldn't have so many dadgum army worms, would they? If they wouldn't spray for the army beetles, wouldn't have so many army worms, would they?
I thought army worms came from moths.
They do. But there's an army beetle, army worm beetle. The black beetle that... What are army worms? They're little worms.
It looks like caterpillars.
Helmets and fatigues and rifles. They're miller bug caterpillars.
Yeah.
They call them army worms because they're, I don't know.
There's probably a bunch of them all in one area. That's probably
Little
why.
cutworms. They also call them cutworms. Like when you're flicking your grass around and the little worm crawls up in a ball, you ain't got, it's just a little worm. Sorry, I was just trying to help.
I love owls.
I don't know. I think they're stringy. Oh, I mean, they're a majestic animal. No, I've never eaten an owl. I don't know if I could.
I don't
That
think
would be one of the last things on my list because I actually think they're super cool.
Yeah, I think they are protected species, or at least certain breeds of them are.
So are dogs and cats.
No, I'm talking about like under the Endangered Species Act of like 1978 or something like that. Where
some of them, not all of them. I mean, they're like hoot owl. I've actually taken several owls to a rescue. There's a rescue up the road.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do my own doctoring on them from now on, though. I'll just keep it on the down low. Won't tell nobody about it. Because the last two owls I took to them, they said, "Oh, there's going to be too much work to save this one," and they euthanized it. If I could have done that, for crying out loud, the thing's maybe a month away from leaving the nest, being able to fly. It's got a broken wing. Put the little booger to sleep and go in there and put the bones back in place. Hold on to it for 6 months. Then let it go.
Hey, Robert Moore wants to know if those are the worms that he'd seen in Sweetwater. He's talking about the army worms, I'm thinking.
I don't know. They're almost every army worm out there is a shade of green. And I'm not even being an ass this time.
Yeah.
But basically they're marked like different.
You got the stripes going down the middle.
The lines go with their body. They don't have any fur or antennas or anything. And they're in the grass. They don't live in the dirt. They're above ground. And you can find them just going around and raking the grass around, and one will flip up usually. They're pretty decent perch bait. Matter of fact, when I was fishing, I was using them for bait down at BTSR one of the times I went. It's all I could find.
Chipper was asking what kind of worms were those in Trimmer movies.
Those were called progressive.
Debbie says that they were called graboids, and I think she was right because I think I remember them being called that.
Those were progressive army worms.
Progressive army worms. You know, you might be right because that one didn't stand too well against the excessive gunfire.
Dark brown with. Oh no, those are pill bugs. Not pill. What are they called? The millipedes.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Or millipedes or centipedes. They're probably.
Can y'all-
There we go.
That's an army worm.
I thought they were green. Like, I'm not joking. I thought they were like kind of like greenish gray.
They're greens and browns and just.
See this one. This one is green and yellowish. This one's brown. That one's green and yellowish. And that one's brown and green. You can't see that because that's pretty. And the one at the bottom that you couldn't see is brown and gray. And I'm not eating those. The ones you're talking about, the ones you see crossing the highway or whatever, they're a millipede, not a centipede. Why did the air pressure in here just change? Oh.
There's some really green ones too, just to call them brown.
Yeah, it just depends on what they're eating, really.
You knew that answer way too fast, Biddy.
And not centipedes, millipedes, like a million legs.
Yeah,
They're,
I think
if
they
you
got
touch them, they curl up. They look like a little cinnamon roll. They're cool to play with. Just touch them and they go and just roll faster. Curl up. What's the flying ones called, Biddy?
I know what those are called.
Me too.
But if I say it, then that'll count as me cussing.
That's the one. I was just trying to get her to cuss again. I don't think they actually have a million legs.
No, I think they got like 100 legs or something like that.
I got a lot of them.
Yeah, no, I think they got like 100.
I found one that was crawling across a old window that I have.
Mm.
One of those windows I have in my. I'm going to keep this because it's a really cool thing. And I picked it up and I watched it and I was like, "Wow, that's like a lot of legs." And they work in
tandem. Yeah,
I mean, I can barely walk across the yard without tripping over something. And this guy's got like 100 legs, and they're just all moving in perfect unison. But yeah, that's a millipede. They're gross.
Centipedes aren't much
Yeah,
better.
holy crap, boys. That's one way to put it. No, they were
Something blasters.
posterior blasters.
Posterior blasters.
Because they flew using gas. Stupidest thing ever.
I don't know. The first and second Tremors.
Like Tremors 5 or something, man. I don't even know.
I've lost track. They had one where it was back in time.
That's I think that was the last one.
I know it's like the second one. I think that was when they first introduced those butt blasters.
Yeah.
Third one was when they actually gave them the name.
Tremors 2.
Tremors.
Tremors, whatever.
It was Tremors 3, and then like I don't remember.
They in Hell. They had the one where they were in Arizona or Nevada, where it was.
Nevada.
Then they were in
Mexico on the second one.
Mexico. Then they had to go to Africa somewhere. Didn't they go to Africa on one of them?
I don't know. I know the third one
Africa where he run into his boy.
The third one was in Nevada. I don't know. I didn't watch the rest of them. I only got to see the first 3.
Anyway, and then the guy's wife left him, and he wound up with he met his long lost son or some crap like that. And then they went to the Wild West, and then they went to the Arctic. Or it was stupid. But
Really?
Rumor is they're coming out with another Trimmers movie. Let me guess, Chipper. It's called The Next Generation, and it's starring Pelosi. Or Trimmers, The Last Generation.
Where they're wearing human skins.
Or they're wearing, yeah, they're pretending to be your friend. When they're secretly, it's just like this, they got this little Pelosi hand puppet that comes out of the ground. I'm here to help. I'm with the government, and I'm here to help. Took that too far. Yeah. Well, I don't know about the rest of you people, but I'm exhausted. Rachel, you eat applesauce on pizza and watch Sharknado. I've never
got to see that movie.
Never watched a Sharknado movie.
Neither have I. I heard it was so bad that it was like fantastically awesome movie that people watched it just because of how terrible it was and how stupid it was. I think they came out with like 3 Sharknado movies.
The two-headed shark, NATO or whatever. What? I mean, come on. There's now, what is it? What's his name in the Evil Dead or whatever? That was a good movie.
I don't think I watched it. You're not.
He's got his arm gets cut off and he puts a shotgun. He's got a shotgun and a chainsaw.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
I think that was good TV.
I never got to see that movie, and I think they came out with like 5 movies total. I know they came out with a video game. I know what you're talking about. What the hell is that actor's name? Something, was it Chris Campbell or something like that? I can't
something like that, but he's, you know.
Like, I remember watching some parts of it where it said, "This is my boomstick."
You know, I watched Rubber once with my son. That tire movie, The Killer Tire, which, you know, that was something straight out of the Twilight Zone. It was like a long episode of the Twilight Zone. And the thing is now, when the movie ends with it being in a tricycle, it wasn't the tire. It was the spirit that was taking over the thing. To follow it. You have to follow it, Rachel. You have to pay attention.
Bruce Campbell.
If you can get your hands on Rubber, watch it. You're just like, it's a seriously low budget movie. It is worth I think it's an hour and 15, hour and something. It's not a long movie. It's worth it. You just sat through 3 hours and 13 minutes of us. Rubber's worth the time. My son said, "Dad, you've got to watch this." So I sat down and watched it with him, and I was like, "This is stupid." So I watched it again. And it's just, you're just sitting there going, you know, the whole time you're like, well, what am I watching? But you can't stop. So, yeah. Anyways, seriously, I'm getting off here. I'm not going to go for another record.
Mm-hmm.
Thank all you people for stopping by. You got any parting words of wisdom for them there, Dior's?
I don't know about the wisdom, but yeah. Thanks for coming out. And Wes, thank you for inviting me. And I've loved talking to you guys. Sorry I wasn't able to keep up with the chat. I was trying my best for was it Buzzard and Biddy Boo, but
Well, then I got now. I see some. I see you never read the chat when you're trying to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Cloverfield, the movie, was junk.
Was that the one with
Cloverfield, whatever the address, Cloverfield or whatever, where they were in the bunker? That was a good movie. The Cloverfield Paradox is a good movie. The sequels were way better than the original.
Oh yeah, you're not talking about the John Goodman one, are you? The one with the bunker.
I like that. You don't like that?
I liked it too. The first Cloverfield, I think that was like what, where they were trying to somebody was running around with a camcorder.
It was like a Blair Witch project, but we're going to do it in New York. Let's give everybody seasickness while they're trying to watch a movie.
I remember watching it. It was okay. It wasn't,
I watched the Blair Witch too, and I'm still trying to figure out how to get that hour and a half of my life back. Oh my God, it's a stick.
Go back in time. Build yourself a time machine, go back in time and tell your past self, don't watch that movie.
Watch that. You know what that would do to me? I would be like, dude, I'm going to watch it twice and see if I can really screw that guy's world up. But
3 hours of your life wasted. Yeah, I had John Goodman.
Anyway, God bless you people. Yeah. Stay alive. Do not die. I'm really closing it this time. Not going for a record, Chipper. You have to come back next time. So, God bless you. Stay alive.